Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Outlaw Nation show, now called The Nation. And it's the Outlaw putting on the hat one last time. That's all you're going to get tonight. I told John Rocha to take that night off. The Outlaw, John Rocha, is here to hang out with you guys. One final appearance here as the Outlaw. You know, the Schmoedown shut down this weekend, so we're going to talk about all of that. My time in the Schmoedown, my journey through the Schmoedown, the multiple matches, events, moments, and things that stood out on my journey. And not just my journey, but also other people's journey. We're going to reminisce about the greatness that was the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. 9 seasons and maybe one day a movie. Who knows? If Community can get a movie all these years later, why can't the Schmoedown get a movie? And boy, won't that be a heck of a negotiation situation about who's going to be the lead of that movie, considering all the egos that walk through the halls of the Schmoedown, including the Outlaw's ego. You know, I'd fight to get star billing on that marquee for sure. And it would be a fun blast down the road if somehow, some way, there is a Schmoedown movie or a movie about the Schmoedown for sure. I'm surprised with all these people that write books that have been in the Schmoedown, Ken Knapsack, Alicia Malone, Jason Inman, that none of them have written a tell-all book about the Schmoedown. It would be fun to see that one day. But anyway, let's get to the first part of this whole thing, and that's the pleasantries. How are you? How the hell are you? How are you? How are you dealing with life? How are you dealing with the world? How are you all dealing with the Schmoedown going away here over the weekend with Schmoedown Spectacular 7? How are you feeling? Is it a bittersweet feeling? Is it a sad feeling? Is it more a matter of like, I'm glad we even had this program like this? What are you feeling now with all this time and all these seasons that have gone through the Schmoedown's time while it was in existence? Of course, Christian Harloff and Mark Ellis deserving so much credit for creating this thing. As Mark Ellis likes to say, they came up with it in a pizza place or a pizza parlor, and who knew what was going to come out of that conversation for sure. So that first season was just a fun time with the Schmoes No Show, all the different people getting involved in it, having fun, talking, competing over movie trivia. And then it was Christian Harloff, and I'm sure with the encouragement of Mark Ellis or the support of Mark Ellis saying, hey, I want to take this to the next level in the second season. I want to have some wrestling stuff, some storylines and what have you. And that was essentially the beginning of the Schmoedown. And who was one of the first calls he put in? And that was to me. That's right. He called the Outlaw and said, hey, I need someone who's going to come in here and be able to play the heel and deal with the slings and the arrows and the barbs from the fans, from the players, and get them to understand what I want the Schmoedown to be. And that was 2015 when he called me and asked me to do that. And I said, hell yeah, I'm your man. Went in the closet, pulled out the cowboy hat, pulled out the mask, and did the deal as the Outlaw in the Schmoedown, which was one of my greatest pleasures, one of my greatest blessings in my life, and I loved it to hell. And I guess I wouldn't take back 95% of it. About 5% of it maybe I'd take back, but 95% of it I would not take back. And I did what I needed to do to get 4 titles around my waist, that when you see behind me there, before it was the GOAT title and what have you. And Dan gifted it to me because he did TKO me. He gifted it to me, which still sticks in my craw. I won that belt there from Dan Murrell, then won the belt again from Bibiani in a bit of a surprise for a lot of people, because Bibiani at the time was certainly one of the most formidable champions, and later became a really formidable champion as a tag team champion, Brendan Meyer. And then, of course, we beat the Schmoes. Matt Noce and I did top 10 to win our first tag team titles belt. And then later beating Corruption, Dan Murrell and I, to win the belts there in Orlando. Came close a few more times, fighting for the belt, trying to get those tag team belts from the Patriots. Fell short. Corruption, of course, on the other side with the Founding Fathers, one of the toughest competitors, or one of the toughest teams we've ever competed against for sure. But it was an absolute blast. So many great people involved with the Schmoedown and having fun with it for sure. And getting to meet so many fun people and seeing their competitive juices, their competitive fire. And of course, being humbled. And I will say that, I'll admit that. And I'm the Outlaw. I'm not supposed to show any vulnerability, but I'll admit that having people come in the last few seasons to say how much the character of the Outlaw inspired them to take a chance and to want to be a part of the Schmoedown. Always humbling experience, irregardless of my ego and my strong opinions on anything. It was always humbling to have fans come up who became players and found moments to tell me how much I inspired them to be part of the game or want to be part of the game, and even have fans come in who were inspired by my journey to be a part of the Schmoedown, to be a fan in the Schmoedown. That was really incredible to see. And of course, the Outlaw Nation was birthed from what we did in the Schmoedown together. Because, hey, everything I didn't do alone. There were always people who were behind the Outlaw, heel or face. There were always people who were supporting and promoting the Outlaw. Sometimes they were the small minority who were trying to tell people about the Outlaw. And then eventually, as I started winning more matches and winning titles, all of a sudden the fan base grew bigger and bigger, for sure. So a lot of people, so before I get too deep into this, just want to remind you all, tonight the Streamlabs Super Chats are open. If you want to send some stuff in, send some support in, send some love in, send your appreciation in for what the Outlaw did, because it's the last time you're going to see me. It's the last time you're going to see the hat on and me playing the Outlaw. Then send in your support now as a thanks for everything that went down, for everything that went through, and tell me your favorite memories, not just of me, but of the game. Tell me about your favorite. Let's all get together. We're all fans of the game. Let's talk about the game. Let's talk about all of that. Of course, the Streamlabs address right above my head. I'll pin it in the chat as well. So, yeah, pretty incredible stuff here. Let's see. Big shout out to everybody who's joining me. I know I haven't done the Outlaw Nation show in quite some time, and it's no longer called the Outlaw Nation show. As you saw from the opening promo, it's called the Nation now. Going forward, I will say right off the bat here, we are going to start doing this again as a weekly show. It's going to be what I want to talk about. Maybe 10 people will show up, maybe 100 people, maybe 1,000 people, maybe nobody will show up, but it'll be my show doing what I want to talk about, because I need to have a night where I get on here live and talk about the things I want to talk about, including mental health stuff, including inspiring you, including trying to hear you out and talk about stuff, and maybe be a place you can go to kind of lay down the shield, lay down the armor and the swords for a bit, and just kind of talk about stuff and be vulnerable about stuff. That's what's going forward here with the Nation show, for sure. So yeah, pretty cool stuff for sure. Smithy, very nice to see you. I said, Outlaw, you may be the only player who got to keep their belt. That's right. Well, I mean, that was part of the stipulation there. Christian told us last year before the match there with me and Dan that whoever won the match was going to take the belt. And look, it was really hard for me to take the belt. It was, because Dan won it. Dan legitimately TKO'd me, legitimately beat me. And it still sticks in my craw that I took the belt. I should have let Dan have it, but Dan's such a good guy, and he was doing it from a real place of love and respect. And how could I say no to that? So now the belt symbolizes a respect between two competitors who've gone through the wars together on the opposite side and on the same side. So that belt to me represents the legacy of Rocha and Merle. So I keep it proudly here in the office. I don't always display it, but I will display it tonight for sure as we get into things with the Schmoedown, for sure. Good to see J-Dog in here. What's up, brother, man? Love to see you. J&B's up in here as well, saying, I remember watching my first Schmoedown and thinking, wow, I thought this Rocha guy was a nice dude, but Rocha on this show seems like a bit of a jerk, not realizing the whole wrestling angle. Yeah, for sure. It was a tough road, for sure, for a large majority of the time when I was doing it initially. A lot of people were not sure if I was me, or if it was, if it was a real person, or if it was a fake thing. Certainly a lot of people were worried about what was real and what wasn't real. And that was the game I had to play most of the time. Perry Nemiroff once said to me, it's when you put on that hat, you scare me. And she's absolutely right. I become a different person when I wear this hat, for sure, because I know what the character was. I knew what I had to do. And I wanted to win those belts, and I wanted to win those belts multiple times, and I wanted to defend those belts. And I did, I came through a few times, enough to win 4 titles, which puts me in rare air. Not a lot of people won 4 titles. Hell, not a lot of people won a title, but so many of those people, even without winning a title or winning 1 title, left a legacy in the game, for sure. And so many of those people were there at Schmoedown Spectacular 7. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it. I had a gig. And it was a good paying gig, and I could not say no to it. I had initially agreed to do a match. I was going to play, I think I was going to play who was I going to play first? I forget who I was going to play first. And then eventually we settled on Mance, Scott Mance. It was going to be the end of the trilogy between me and Scott Mance. But and Mance, to his credit, absolutely agreed. He was down to do it. You know, Scott showed up at the at my retirement last year at the SCHMOEDOWN Spectacular. But he, you know, when I booked the gig, unfortunately, we couldn't make the match happen. Boy, I'm trying to remember who we were setting up for it might have been Snyder or somebody else. I'm not sure who it was going to be. Or maybe Snyder was being set up for something else, but I can't remember who. Oh, Rachel Cushing. It was initially going to be Rachel Cushing. Me and Rachel were going to go at it, which would have been great because I've always wanted to play Rachel. I love the legacy that Rachel left in the game, and it always sucked that we kept missing each other, and kept missing each other in teams as well. It would have been nice to play Rachel Cushing. But that was always dependent on whether Marisol said yes or no, and she eventually said yes. So that was the right pairing. And I from what I heard, they had a fantastic match, and it was great to see them because the ladies deserve their own showcase as well for being such a huge part of the Schmoedown for sure, and huge part of its legacy. As Clark said, there's no female Schmoedown and male Schmoedown. We are the league, and she was right, and she was absolutely right. And that's one person I never got to play as well. Clark Wolf would have always. I mean, she was one word away from us battling for the belt. And it would have been a hell of a match, me and Clark Wolf. It ended up being Ethan who beat me for the belt, but it would have been a blast to play Clark for sure to match wits because no one's as competitive as I am as Clark Wolf is. She's just as competitive. She's just as sneaky. She's just as petty at times. She was great about that, and I would have loved to have traded barbs with her on the desk toe-to-toe because don't let Clark fool you. She doesn't like to lose, and I like that when I play someone who doesn't like to lose and is invested because then it becomes an even more heated game for sure, and I have nothing but respect for Clark Wolf. Would have been fun. I think playing Rachel would have been just a fun blast for sure. Two friends going at it there on the stage for everybody to enjoy, and I'm sure Sam would have had some shenanigans there the whole time, like he pulled when I was playing Liz, which was a great time for sure. But yeah, so Christopher Strike Leather says if the Shire Wolves never retired, the Shire Wolves versus Founding Fathers would have been a barn burner. Oh, for sure, that would have been a fantastic match. You know, Christian's always kicked around the idea of a what do you call it? A Legends League. He's always said, like, I'd love to have a Legends League. I'd love to, you know, get the old gang back together and have some fun with it. But, you know, we're all kind of doing our thing. I don't know how many of us would be willing to come back and study. There was just something about that time. You know, there was something about those years, 2016 to about 2019, or in 2018 even, where it was just like, everything was coming together and everybody was getting involved and there was like competitive juices going, rivals, because we were all in the sphere. We were all trying to make it and get known as critics, as reviewers, as pundits. Some people had already been known, like McWeeny. Sam was clearly known as an actor. Dan over at Screen Junkies had already established himself. Bibiani as a writer had established himself. Mark Andrake, obviously a comic book writer, had established himself. Clark was building as a host herself, and as a writer, I think, as well. So she was doing her thing. And Rachel was coming out of editing to be a part of this. So, and you know, I think there was just a lot of how can I say this? Friendly and sometimes a little bit not so friendly competitive fire there amongst all of us, because there was a pride about knowing about movies more than the next person. There's just this kind of ego that takes over. And don't let the nerdy stuff fool you or the geeky stuff ever fool you. People like us, we are competitive. There is a segment of geek culture that is quite competitive and wants to be known as the person who knows the most about movies, and that bubbles under the surface all the time. So that is always there because we take, and it always comes from a source of pride. Like when people made fun of us for loving movies as much as we did, it was nice to come to a place like the Movie Trivia Schmoedown and be able to talk about movies and compete about our knowledge of movies, and in a way get our ego stroked for knowing so much about movies, because probably most of us, at least in my experience, growing up, those of us who were huge movie fans were seen as dweebs and nerds and geeks and people to get bullied and beat up because we were the more sensitive types, the more caring types, the more empathetic types. And that's why movies moved us in the way that they did and affected us in the way that they did, because they were an escape for us from what sometimes was a very tough upbringing for a majority of us, I would imagine. Not that the Outlaw is going to talk about that, but yeah, for sure. It would have been awesome to have that for sure. All right, I got 65 of you watching me right now. Thanks so much for joining me. I know Andor comes out in a couple hours, so I appreciate you all hanging out with me tonight. This was the only time I could do it, 7 p.m. tonight. I had to take about a 2 or 3 hour rest this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, to be honest with you, it's tough. The COVID situation really has affected my endurance, affected my strength and my breathing. So it does exhaust me to do as much as I do. And I find now lately, as you can tell by my voice, I have to take little rests or longer rests in order to be able to function. So I wanted to give you guys my full attention. So I wanted to be as rested as possible before I did the show for you all to hang out. And as I said, or as you saw in the thumbnail and saw in the description of this video, I will be doing a play along of the Schmoedown Spectacular 7. Going to be doing the singles match and the tag team match. We'll start with the tag team match, which was Bibiani and the kid, Brendan Meyer, there, Shazam, taking on King Kong and a mystery opponent. And then, of course, Battle of the Goats 2, just to test my knowledge against Sam and Dan. A little fun playing from the comfort of the Outlaw Nation offices and have a little fun playing those guys. I have not seen the matches. I haven't seen any of the matches from this weekend. I know, I know that certain people won from what they were tweeting about or what people told me, but I don't know who won the singles match. I really don't know. I don't know who won Battle of the Goats 2. So that is going to be a nice surprise for me. I did have the tag team match result spoiled for me, but I want to play along. So I want to see how I do against some of the questions that they get there in the match. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And that'll be in a little bit. But first, I just wanted to kind of touch base with all of you and talk about the Schmoedown and what it meant to me and the journey I went on being in the Schmoedown. It was not something that I absolutely anticipated. I had no idea where this was going to lead me. I had no idea where I was going to go. I had no idea how it was going to affect my life, to be honest with you. But who knew? And I have to give credit what credit is due, because I also give criticism to him when criticism is due. And that's Christian Harloff. Christian Harloff, certainly, I remember him pulling me aside. I was still kind of getting my feet wet in this business. And I always give credit to Christian Harloff for walking me into this business in 2015 when I wasn't sure what I was going to do with my life. I'm speaking as John Rocha, what I was going to do with my life. I wasn't really making it that well as an actor overall. I was booking voiceover stuff, but I wasn't getting that on camera stuff. I was starting to lose confidence and wondering what I was going to do next in my life. And Christian came, old friend Christian there from Florida State, came and said, "Hey, why don't you come try and be a host here and have some fun with me talking Star Wars with me and Tiffany Smith?" I had no idea who Tiffany Smith was. I had no idea who anybody was in the space other than Christian and Mark, who I had met, I think, once or twice there. And so getting involved with that. So I always credit Christian for walking me into the space. But Christian was the one who said to me, "Dude, if this takes off, if this becomes big, you're going to get a following. If you win matches, if you do all these things, you're going to get a following, and you never know how big it can be." And so for me, it was the combo of the Schmoedown and getting on to be full-time at Collider for a few years that kind of, pushed my subscribers, my followers, all of that on Instagram and on Twitter, really pushed it up there. So I am nothing but wholly appreciative of the Schmoedown and its effect on my life for sure. So shout out to the Schmoedown for that big time. It was the best. Chris Taylor says, the Outlaw John Rocha, greatest character / competitor in Schmoedown history. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. I'm sure there are people who would disagree with you, but I appreciate it, Chris. And I do feel like I was the greatest character in the Schmoedown for sure. Everything is after me, after what I created, after what I did, after the legendary matches I had. Then everyone else came afterwards and kind of took a piece of what I did and made it their own. So I always appreciated seeing other people being influenced by what I did, whether they gave me credit or not. I always appreciated that. For sure. Competitor wise, I think I'm in a basket with a rare few that certainly tried to bring it every match for sure and brought the intensity and the fire and the fun if nothing else. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate the super chat. Keep sending them in, ladies and gentlemen. Super chats and Streamlabs. This is the last time you're going to get the Outlaw on camera. So if you have anything you want to say, any questions you want to ask, any stories you want to hear about, any legends, any tales, any controversies, any great stuff, any fun memories you want me to talk about, send in your Streamlabs and super chats, and I will talk about them here on the show during the first hour. J&B says finances and logistics of it may make it seem impossible, but would the Outlaw be up for a Champions League Legends League type of a competition? Yeah, I think it would depend. As I said, it would depend on the money, it would depend on the time, and it would depend on how that whole thing would go about. But sure, I would be down if the money was right, the timing was right. I would absolutely be down for having a competition, because I think all of us would love to be involved in one last competition to see who's really the best of the best. And cue the Karate Kid music there. You're the best around. So we'd see who really is the best once and for all. But I would not do it unless we had independent question writers who had no connection to anybody, independent judges who had no connection to anybody. They can't be NFL neurological or neurotrauma specialists. They'd have to be completely exclusive from the Schmoedown, not even be paid by the Schmoedown, so that there'd be no kind of shenanigans there. So that would be my one condition. It'd have to be completely separate entities to be a part of it for sure. Let's see. Andrew Hale, what's up, Andrew? Andrew comes in. Thank you, Andrew. He said, I can't imagine the Schmoedown without the Outlaw. You brought the passion, the character work, and the game. Thanks, John, for the great matches. What a run. Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate that. Andrew, one of the integral parts of getting the Patreon and the Discord running here on the Outlaw Nation channel. Hey, if you're not a part of the Patreon, you should definitely become a part of the Patreon. You see it on the screen there. Was it there? Though there it is. Patreon.com/John Rocha. Come be a part of it. Got multiple tiers, multiple things to go on there for sure. So, Andrew, thank you very much. You're very kind. Thanks for the sweet super chat. I appreciate it, man. I did bring the passion. I did bring the character work in the game for sure, and some great matches. And I was going through the old catalog of matches there, and it's pretty insane to think about. I mean, I'm looking at it now on the Collider Wikipedia or wiki that they have here for the Schmoedown, and talk about top 10. Me and Matt Nost, remember us taking on the Screen Junkies, which were Hal Rudnick and Nick Mundy. Everybody thought they were going to kill us. Everybody thought they were going to destroy us. And then we ended up wiping them out 15-5. I don't think we even went to round 3. So that was the first time, I think, yet even from the first match, laying the groundwork for the Outlaw of all the belts, all the records, all the firsts, right? Like all the notable achievements. We were the first team to knock a team out before they got to round 3, which was incredible. Then we took on Dan Murrell and Mark Riley, and they absolutely thought that Dan Murrell and Mark Riley were going to kill Matt and I. And in the end, we ended up taking it 19-18. I don't even remember this whole betting 7 points or 8 points. I don't even remember the original way the Schmoedown was built. I've got a lot of memories in my head, and they start to dissipate, but I do remember we beat them. But then some miracle losing to JT and to Finstock. And who knew that would become something I would do more often than not, which was lose to JTE in a tag team match, and then eventually become his tag team partner, which was a fun run last year, me and him. That was a blast. I'm telling you, what were we, Mount Rushmore, or what were we? Mount Rushmore, I guess. That was awesome. So much fun to be called. And of course, it made Kalinowski crazy, which made me even happier. His competitive juices, because if anyone can match me competitively, it's Kalinowski for sure in terms of the intensity. But Kalinowski came through more often than I did for sure. So shout out to Kalinowski for sure. Yeah, I remember that. And then became me and Mance playing one-on-one. And Mance beat me in that with that Bespin question, of course, which everybody remembers. And then I beat Makuga by 1 point. People forget that was a tight match. Then I took on Mance in the rematch and took him out 13-10 and got into the singles tournament. So people forget, I had to win my way into the singles tournament. Christian laid it out because he thought I was going to beat Mance the first time around. So did I. I mean, I was a little nervous, but I thought I had a good opportunity to beat him. And then in the end, I didn't. So I had to earn my way into the tournament. So not only did I win all those rounds in the tournament that year, when I beat Christian and I beat Mark, and then I got to Mark Ellis, Mark Ellis. I had to beat Makuga and Mance just to get in that thing, then beat Christian in the blindfold match. And the whole time while that was happening, I was also doing things with Matt Nost for our tag teams, and we took on Rotten Tomatoes there. We beat them 23-21. I think Rotten Tomatoes at the time was Matt Atchity and Gray Drake. I think because I think we beat them twice when we were playing them as well. I think that was Team Rotten Tomatoes. You guys can correct that for me if I'm wrong. Yeah, then I took on Yodi. I beat Yodi 18-14. And then I lost to Ellis because I couldn't get that chitty bang bang question. And he got that. Kind of difficult, to be honest with you, Jason Bourne question. I don't think I would have gotten that question myself personally. And then we took on the Schmoes in the tag team titles match, who had been undefeated, and we beat the Schmoes. We knocked them out. They didn't even get to the third round, which I know for Christian truly embarrassed him and stuck in his craw for sure. And then I formed the Four Horsemen. Remember that with Bibiani and Robert Meyer Burnett. That was the fourth person there, and that was also something Christian and I had talked about, how we would form the Horsemen, because Dan kind of grabbed the numeral order. I wanted to be NWO. I wanted to create the new Rocha order or something like that, the new Outlaw order, something like that. But Dan took the numeral order, and that just kind of shot that possibility down. So what's the other greatest faction, in my opinion? The Four Horsemen. I love DX, but I don't know what you can do with DX. 2 letters. I don't know what you can do. But with the Four Horsemen, that was a lot of fun putting all of that together. And then we ended up losing our title to we lose our title to the Patriots, right? We ended up losing the title to the Patriots because of Jeff guessing that thing out of nowhere, or was it JT guessed it out of nowhere? But then I had to play Mark Riley, and I beat Mark Riley to get my shot at Dan Murrell, and then I beat Dan Murrell by 1 point, I think, in the singles competition, and that's when I won the belt. So I had won, the tag team and the singles belt in a concentrated amount of time against some of the best that ever played. And look, the people can say all they want about the most recent seasons and all this competition. There was no greater competition than when we were all starting out. Those people were steeped in movie knowledge because they were the ones talking about it all the time, always checking their facts, always having to come speak with it. So to me, I was very proud of winning those 2 belts. And then, of course, the Four Horsemen fell apart after that. And then I took on Riley, and Riley beat me for the belt because I wasn't ready for that match. I mean, once you win the belt, it's about like, well, what do you do? And, for me personally, I had been such a fuzzing the lines kind of a-hole that nobody cheered for me when I won, really, other than my friends who were in the audience at the time and some people that I knew. And afterwards, people came up and said, congrats, but no one sat down with me who were fellow competitors and were just kind of talking about the match and talking about all of it. So I felt in my mind, I was like, wow, I won all this. But I didn't get that camaraderie that I was hoping for. And that was my first taste of understanding that this was a road that I was going to have to walk alone more often than not. Other than, having the nation behind me at the time, which was still kind of coming together. There were still charters and parliaments and arguments to be hashed out before the nation was formed. But it was a window into how I was going to have to walk this road alone, because in some of their eyes, I wasn't the most likable person. I wasn't the nicest guy. I wasn't the sweetest dude, and all of that. I was a man who stood for himself and stood strong for who he was as a person and went after the things that I wanted with passion and with gusto. And maybe that rubbed people the wrong way, but that's the game. And of course, there was probably a little bit of jealousy involved there that they weren't getting the shine. They weren't getting the spotlight. And I used to hear about that too when I was playing, that some players would go to Christian and complain that he was playing favorites with me, which I guarantee you was never the fucking situation. It never was. There were always hoops that I had to jump through in order to prove myself. People forget that I had to beat Makuga and Mance just to get into that singles tournament. You know, I could have lost to Makuga. I could have lost to Mance again. But then I beat Christian Harloff, who was at the time the reigning defending tag team champion. Then I beat Mark Riley, who had been the Schmoedown champion, if people remember. So I had to earn my stripes. And not many people had to go through the road that I had to go through at the time to be in the position that I was in. So, yeah. So it were certain things presented to me, or were certain things opened up to give me an opportunity? Yes, but I also had to earn it by winning matches and getting into those positions. Matt and I, we destroyed so many teams as top 10. We beat so many teams. It was the Patriots who we couldn't solve in the end, and for whatever reason had our numbers and got under our skin. They were the only team that could consistently mess with us for whatever reason. But we knocked out so many tag teams, formidable tag teams. I mean, who did we beat? What was it? Take the Hat, whatever that one was with Jim Vavida. I forget what the name of that was. Cat in the Hat, whatever they were called. We set the most points scored by a team. We broke that record when we beat them. So, and I came in so intense to win. So, you know, it's the part of who I am. I'm a passionate Latino guy, and sometimes that rubs people the wrong way. So be it. That's life. But that's who I am as a person. And the people who say, like, hey, we should accept everybody, we should be so accepting and blah, 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 they're the same people who may not be quite so accepting of people right there who are passionate, who challenge them too much in terms of their behavior. And so maybe they need to take a look at themselves. Maybe I don't have to do that myself. We shall see. Anyway, so let's see what else we got here. Some Streamlabs that have come through, some super chats. Christelle said, Rocha is ready to compete in a Schmoedown. Kumate. Let's do it. Kumate, son. I love it. And that is a nice reference there. Justin says, you're the reason I fell in love with the Schmoedown, man. Glad Christian gave you props at Spectacular 7 on your contribution to the league. Thanks, Outlaw. Oh, that was really nice of him. I didn't know he did that. That's pretty great. That's so awesome. Dixon Sider says, McQueenie is the best of all time. It didn't seem like he had to study. I think he just knows everything about movies. Well, when you spin 80s, 25 out of 26 matches, it kind of helps you. It kind of helps you get into that position. No, I'm just busting balls. McQueenie was a great competitor. He's fantastic tag team champion for sure. Let's see here if I got any Streamlabs that have come through. Okay, I got a few of those. Sorry, guys. I got a little bit of as I said, a little bit of the long COVID. I have some times with my breathing. AZ Badge Fish says, I say it all the time. There would be no MTS without the Outlaw. You were the first one to get it, and I was a fan from day one. Thanks, man. Favorite memories would be the reveal of Dan as the fifth horseman. Yes. And the All the Belts, All the Records promo. Truly epic stuff. Yeah. The reveal of Dan was such a long process. And Riley, too. Getting them both to come out of retirement. And people were upset that we were putting the horsemen back together again. And they were upset that I was getting I was getting the rub. But look, it's business. If you could put the butts in seats that I put in seats, you'd be in this position too. If you could get the views on your matches like I was getting, welcome to the real world. It's business. And at the time, Christian came to me and he's like, listen, I have a plan for this. I don't know if it's going to work. What do you think? Who would you want? And at the time I mentioned Clark, who from what I understand wasn't interested in it. And I think the Emma thing was slowly starting to happen, which was great. The 5 Club was awesome. And I don't remember if there was another. I don't know if Rachel was in the league yet. There was someone else we were looking at. And in the end, it just didn't work out. And then Dan and Mark came available. And I mean, I'd be a fool to turn down that, having Dan Merle and Mark Riley on a faction. So the Mark Riley thing happened a little bit easier than the Dan thing. Dan was on the fence about it, wasn't sure about it. I think the idea of being connected to a bit of a heel. Plus, Dan had been retired and, he had been kind of enjoying the retirement a little bit, but there was that scratch, that itch to come back and see what he could do. So there was possibilities there. And so it wasn't until really the last minute that it all finally came together. And Inman too, because Inman had said he wanted to be part of a faction. And I had lobbied hard for Jason to be part of it because we wanted an inner geekdom guy. And I knew Jason could do characters. It could be fun on the mic. And I'm always been a big fan of Jason Inman, so I was excited to be part of the Horsemen and leading us in Jason's matches if he was going to take on people and go get that belt back. It would have been a blast. You know, I would have sat and studied with Jason all day and all night to get him ready for some of those matches for sure. But of course, Jason got a job, and he is now very much, you know, set in what he's doing, and it couldn't be part of it down the road. But that reveal, that was everything. I mean, it was chills, man. I'm telling you, that's what I'm going to miss the most. And, you know, I'm no NFL athlete. I'm no NBA athlete, but there's nothing like being in an auditorium and people chanting your name and people being excited about the things that you're involved in. And there was such a special joy in those live matches. You know, I only ever lost one live match. Ironically, it was my last match against Dan. I don't count the free-for-alls because, like, I mean, that's everybody except for one person loses the free-for-all. But, like, I didn't lose any of the live matches. And so there was just something about feeling the electricity of the crowd, the 11th man, so to speak, or 12th man, rather, so to speak. And it was great. You know, I loved it. And whenever I was down, because I got a lot of shit, you know, online from a lot of the fans on those comments. So go find those old matches and read some of those comments. They were pretty brutal. But it was a completely different experience live. Like, the fans really loved what we brought to the table, what I brought to the table, and to speak to so many of them and shake hands with so many of you all. Some of you might be watching right now, taking pictures with you, talking with you about your lives, hearing about your mental health struggles, because I had talked about my mental health struggles in my life. It meant so much to me, honestly. And the great fans who really respected and understood what we did, respected and understood what we were creating, they were the reasons to keep going, and they were the reasons why I loved the live matches so much, and why I always tried to show up for the live matches and give a great performance. If anything bothers me, if I lost to Dan in the TKO and I'd played a great match, I'd have no shame. But the fact that I came out and laid a little bit of an egg as my last match really sticks in my craw, because I feel like I let people down. I disappointed people. And I'll never get past that until maybe one day playing in front of people again, which would be fun, because I'd love to get one more shot at, like, showing what I can do. But that's why it bothers me. So losing to Dan, there's no shame in that. Dan's the greatest of all time, one of the greatest of all time. I still can't. But, like, you know, but I wish I delivered a better performance and we'd gone to sudden death and all of that. So it just, you know, it just didn't work out that way. So I have to sit with it. But overall, I loved being there and the fans cheering for us and everything like that. I mean, the electricity of it all. I never wrote any promos down. I never planned out any promos. Did I think about certain things to bring up in promos? Sure. But I never planned them out and structured them and memorized them. And no, it was always spur of the moment from wherever I was at. You know, the whole thing with Chance at the SCHMOEDOWN Spectacular in Orlando, that was all just off the cuff. You know, I'd seen that tweet he had put out about it, laying out his clothes and stuff. And I thought, oh, great, this is perfect. How can I work this in to the whole situation? And I'd gone to the mall in Orlando and found that camo jacket that I wore up on stage as a kind of, you know, military reference. Taking pictures with Mike. That was all on spur of the moment. I had no plan to do. I had no idea I was going to do that. Just Dan Murrell was so focused on that match. So he believed in our team so much that it wasn't our last ride, that he got me to believe, because I was all caught up with the whole idea of, okay, here we go. I might lose to a team again for the third time, just like I did with the Patriots when I was in top 10. I didn't want that to happen. So I was really lost in whether I was going to blow it or not. But Dan was so focused that he was able to calm me down, get me settled. And when we got out on that stage, I was ready to go, son. I was ready. I was like a lion who had gotten, with the cage door opened, and I was able to run free again in the jungle, man. No one was going to stop us. I was even more focused during the match than Dan, because by the end, Dan was like trying to speak to me. He was about to say something, and I was just like, dude, just say the answer. Let's go. Let's win this thing, you know? So, but it was awesome to win it for Dan and to win it for myself as well. Because if you guys remember, that was, I had been taking some losses, and I was starting to wonder if I could still do this thing. So winning it in that way and validating Dan, giving us the opportunity after he won the free for all, was a sweet victory for us. And finally beating corruption, of course, was a sweet victory for us as well. And those guys are great. Chance and Kalinowski, fantastic competitors that brought out the best. I think the four of us brought out the best in each of us every time. As I never saw Kalinowski play better in a tag teams match than when he played against us. Look at his percentages. He is better against us than any other team. And it was always the difference. Thanks, AZ. Bobby Break says, my favorite moment from all of it was the blindfold match you did. You were one of the best personalities and competitors in the show. Thanks, Bobby. Yeah, we just, I think 6 years, just a few weeks ago, 6 years passed on that match, which is insane to think about what came out of it. I actually rewatched the match the other day. I hadn't watched it in forever. And I forgot that Freddie Prinze Jr. called the match. Remember him and Campia called the match, which was really great. I'd forgotten about that. And that was so much fun. That was such a blast. And, coming up with that on the fly, driving to the studio, the Collider studio. I passed by the CVS. I had it in my mind, the idea of playing him blindfold. And I was like, what is it going to mean? What is it going to, is it going to, because I just did not want Christian shenanigans because he was already working me at the job. Christian was, because Christian's in a higher position than I am at Collider. He's, and so he's like, and I'm still trying to prove myself at Collider. So his little barbs, that whole week, those competitive barbs, they were kind of messing with me a little bit. And I was like, how do I short circuit this? And then I don't know what it was. I don't know if I heard something. I don't know if I saw something. I don't know if I watched some martial arts movie or whatever it was. Maybe it was Bloodsport, watching him being blindfolded and shit. But for whatever reason, it occurred to me, and I was like, oh man, I wonder if I play him blindfolded, what that would be like. So as a spectacle, right? And I didn't know, I bought the blindfold, I put it in the hat, and or in the jacket rather, and I wasn't sure I was going to pull it out until I felt it, and I'm a very organic person. If it feels like the right thing, I do it. And in that moment, I was like, all right, that feels like it's the right thing to do. Let's pull out the blindfold. And it got a great reaction. It threw Christian off, whether he wants to admit it or not. You could tell by his face he was thrown off by it. And everyone else was thrown off by it. And it helped to relax me. Like I was able to make jokes with Natasha and mess with people in the crowd like Makuga and shit. And it just helped to calm me down playing Christian. And if you can tell, Christian and I are very supportive of each other through the whole match. That was some of the stuff that was missing later on, but we were so supportive. People were so supportive of each other. We were playing early on. It was great. It did happen in the last few seasons, but there was also much more drama and intensity as well going on. But yeah, that was, if you watch the match, Christian and I are cheering each other on through the whole match. So it was a blast. It was an absolute blast. So thank you, Bobby. I appreciate you sending in that Streamlab with your thoughts, man. Optimike Primus. Nice. Optimike Primus. Dig that. I was wondering what your best memory of Schnepp was. Hey, he was an integral part of me coming into the Schmoes territory and loved his time in the Schmoedown. Such a great guy, and I would love to hear some great behind-the-scenes memory of him. Outlaw. Thank you, Optimike. Well, let me tell you, Schnepp never had a car. I don't know if they've told you that. I'm sure you probably, maybe you hasn't. Schnepp never had a car. We always had to wait for the Uber to drop him off at the studio before we could shoot. And everyone always waited for Schnepp because it was John. People love John. No one's going to be mad at John. And so they always waited. Now, as the producer of the show, would it frustrate me? Yes, because it would set me back with other stuff I was doing at Collider, and I was trying to get it to, get knowledgeable on or write or reviews or whatever. It was always that little situation there, but that was part of it. And the thing about John was, he's such an interesting person because he was very opinionated about what he thought worked, but he was never opinionated to the point where he made you feel stupid for having a different opinion than him. He actually would listen to you, and he actually would hear, and he'd be like, well, let me tell you, this is what I think, and this is what, blah, blah. And so he'd bring it, he'd tell you about things and give you his opinion and give you his point of view and all of that. And look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like John and I were best friends. I know some people do that and use that to their own benefit. That's not me. I very much was like, look, John and I was the producer. He was the host of the show. We were older gentlemen, so it was a different situation. I didn't worship at the altar of John Schnepp. I was a producer of his show, but I respected him as a person, and I always liked when John liked my point of view or appreciated my perspective on something. It always meant something to me because I always respected John's brain. John's brain was great, and his ability to look at things, and look, the guy was a big behemoth, had the high-pitched voice, had the weird look about him, but people loved him. People loved him like a teddy bear, man. He had that energy that not a lot of people have, and they're the great ones. They're the rare ones, and you love them for it. So anyway, John, we went to this party, and John was like needing a ride home. And I was like, I'll give you my ride home in my little Prius. I will give you a ride home, you big son of a bitch. And we had a great conversation driving home about movies, about comic book stuff, about where it's all going. And it was always how can I say this? It was always like a precious experience to have that with Schnepp, because he would just kind of give you knowledge that you didn't know about, or things you didn't think about. And what was great about John is that he would bring up characters that you remember you read when you were like 15 or 12 in comic books, but John knew the histories of all these characters. And when he referenced them just casually in conversation, or casually when he was doing his time on Collider Heroes, it would really blow your mind. I mean, the fact that he fought for Kang and stood for Kang, and then Kang showed up. When Kang showed up in Loki, I lost my goddamn mind thinking of Schnepp because of how hard he had been pushing. When the MODOK series happened, that was one that Schnepp also talked about as well. And I watched that whole series out of respect for Schnepp. So those things that you kind of enjoyed about John. And when John got out of the car, here's John's butt crack sticking out of his jeans because he looked like a fucking plumber. But that was the thing about John. You just didn't care. John was just one of these guys that was a salt of the earth dude, who wasn't about hurting people. Did he have strong opinions? Sure, but he wasn't about hurting people. And that was a rarity in this business, because this business can be quite an ego-driven, selfish, backstabbing business. And don't get it twisted. People backstab each other all the time in this business. People lie about how much they respect or care about somebody in this business. It happens. For all the liberal talk and progressive talk and equality talk, there's shit that goes on behind the scenes that would shock a lot of you with some people. But with Schnepp, that was never the case. He was very much his own person. And like I said, we were never best friends, but we were friends. We were friendly. And it broke my heart to see him in the hospital. It broke my heart, because to see such a huge man felled by such a thing, it reminded me of that Big Bad John song from the 1950s. At the bottom of the well of this well lies a big, big man, Big John. And it always made me think about him, to seeing the size of this dude laying, like Gulliver's Travels, laying across, Gulliver, that story of Gulliver laying there on the hospital bed. He was so massive. It was just heartbreaking, and that was a journey. Whether he was going to live or die and I couldn't believe that death was in the equation. Like, it was crazy, because we'd always told, like, everyone, and occasionally me would always tell John, like, hey, you got to lay off this, you got to do this, you got to stop this. But John lived life on his terms, for better or worse. And so when things started to happen, I'm sure he felt terrible. I'm sure he felt sad that it was all happening, but he chose to do it his way, for better or worse, man. And I got nothing but respect for that. Because he lived life on his terms, and not a lot of people get to do that. And everybody created space for John to live life on his own terms, and that speaks volumes to the kind of character and person he was, and the amount of affection people had. Because, as I said, authenticity is a rare thing in this business. So when you meet somebody who does have it, you want to create space for it, and John was one of those people that had it. So that's what I can tell you. Crazy son of a bitch. Let's see here. Sorry. Thank you. Sean Barrett. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Sean. He said, hats off to the Outlaw. You're one of the best players to ever do it. Hands down. No question. My favorite time of watching you play was the run of victories you had leading up to play Mark Ellis. Yeah. As I said, those victories, Makuga, Mance, Harloff, Riley, that's a good collection of people. And I think with Baby Carrots, it was a good dry run for me to play Dan, because with Mark, I had gotten too much in my head And, it was a back and forth, and I was like falling behind. And it was frustrating that I couldn't quite get Ellis and catch him and beat him. And to lose on a Chitty Chitty Bang Bang question, which is a movie I hadn't thought of since I was a kid, was such a tough loss for me. But the run was incredible, and the press conference as well that we did. So that run proved to me that I belonged in the league, proved to me that I could do this thing, and proved to me that I could be a champion. So losing to Mark, although it sucked, it was a great teacher for me when I played Dan, because I didn't get too high and I didn't get too low when I played Dan. And Mark Riley was really great before I played Dan and said to me, I played him. Be careful. You can think you're going to win, and he sucks you in and beats you. You've got to keep it chill. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. And sadly, I forgot that when I played him last year, because in the first round, after that first round was done, I just kept saying to myself, you're going to lose, you're going to lose, you're going to lose. Instead of saying to myself, all right, tough first round, just keep it chill. Let's see what happens in the second. He might spin something he's not good at. Let's see what happens in the betting round. Let's see what happens in the speed round. And if I had kept a more level head, I think I would have gotten us to sudden death, or at least to force Dan to answer his questions in the third round. So, those things, sometimes you forget them, and you're more in the mindset to win at different times in your life than you are at other times in your life, so it's the way it goes sometimes. But yeah, thank you, Sean. I appreciate it. Thank you for the very kind Streamlab, dude. You're the best for sure. Let's see here. Let's see what more we've got that has come through. What else have we got here? Adam Williams. Adam says, Outlaw, in my opinion, you are the GOAT of the Schmoedown. Thank you, man. Thank you for all the passion you brought to a league that I love so much. Thank you. Thank you, Adam. I appreciate that very much. Appreciate fans like you. Appreciate all of you who supported me, and whether you told me or whether you felt it in your spirit. I'm very much a person who believes in universal energy and riding the waves of universal energy. So trust me, for every person who ever supported me, I felt you. I felt you in the tips of my fingers. I felt you in my body. I felt your spirits in my body, pushing me along, supporting me, calming me down, helping me to focus, believing in myself in those tough matches. And I can't thank all of you enough, Adam. It's almost like Dusty Rhodes. Let me feel you. Let me feel you through the TV screen. I need you, and I love you. I always felt that with you guys. For being a heel or whatever, that was always fun. But at the bottom of it was this guy who was looking to be believed in, looking to be supported, looking to find fans who believed in him, and who knew what it was all going to turn into. I really couldn't have predicted how it all turned out with a nation, with a channel, with my own outlet, all of that. It's just kind of crazy how it all kind of blossomed from there. So thank you, Adam. Thanks for believing in me. Thanks for supporting me. Thanks to everyone out there who believed in and supported the Outlaw on my many runs to titles and what have you. Adam also asks, what is your favorite singles and tag match that you played in, win or lose? Ooh. That's a good question. Because each of them has their special place for a reason, right? Like beating Bibbs for the title was great, but messing up that Matthew Broderick, Ben Stiller question pissed me off because I had to come back, and I was lucky to win getting the Anna and the King question right and him losing on the Elizabeth Debicki question. I played a damn good match up until that moment. And so, although I loved that match, I felt like I didn't quite 100% get there. Playing Dan, I missed the first two questions, and I had to get that Billy Campbell, Jennifer Lopez, Enough movie right. And I had to see if Dan was going to miss his fiver. Because if Dan gets the fiver, he beats me. And people immediately denigrated that victory, saying, oh, it's unfair. Dan should have, it shouldn't come down to the 3-pointer or 5-pointer or whatever it was. So even when I won, people were always trying to take away my victories or soil them in some way. So But it may be the Harloff match, man. It may really be the Harloff match in terms of singles, because we had such a great time playing each other the whole time, and it was a great back and forth. And he made some mistakes. I made some mistakes. So it was very evenly matched all the way to the final question. And that might be my favorite singles match. There are other matches that, of course, meant more for belts or points when we were doing points with the factions. But that was a damn good match. And I'll throw in the match against Oyama, because no one thought I was winning that one. Don't fucking lie to me. None of you thought I was going to win that one. And I always give a big thanks to Roxy and Shannon Barney, who were there for that match in the audience and started chanting fourth round Rocha, because I wasn't sure, man. My confidence was shaken at that point because I had taken some losses and I wasn't sure. And then the fourth round situation, me getting mad about that, which was really, now in retrospect, really foolish and completely stupid. Who gave a shit? It was so dumb, but clearly I was going through some stuff, and it was right around the time I had gotten let go by Collider, and Makuga made some really terrible jokes at our expenses, which I thought was a really asshole move of his, because a lot of us didn't know where we were going. We don't have money in our family to support us. Some of us had to really kind of make it on our own. So when he was making those jokes from the stage at our expense, and it was really a couple of weeks after we gotten let go, it really pissed me off, put me in a really fucking bad mood. So when the whole thing went down, because Tom also didn't tell us that he was going to draft Ben first and then Riley and then me and Dan, or Dan and me, because I was fourth round. That kind of, all of it just kind of combined into making me feel like I wasn't valued. And that's on me, because that's my journey with my self-worth and my self-confidence and my mental health stuff. That's on me, so I had to kind of look at that after it happened. And my faction mates were really great. Tom called me, Bateman called me, Dan called me, Riley. They were all like, Kaiser even, they were all like, come to the bar, man, come back to the bar. Let's talk. And and I went back to the bar later, and the Den, I think, and we all sat around and talked about everything. And it was great. And they were really great to understand. They were really good to smooth things over. It was awesome, So that when they started chanting fourth round Rocha, Shannon and Roxy, and they were just busting balls. They weren't trying to be, it motivated me to beat Oyama. Like I was like kind of shaky, and Dan had been like, dude, more movies than he does. Remember that. Don't forget that. Dan was always great at getting me in the right frame of mind. And then they said that. And when they said that, it's like a switch went off in me. And I was like, oh, you're not fucking winning. I don't care what it takes. And I beat him. And the same thing with Kalinowski. When I beat Kalinowski, he had been riding high on that James Bond shit. And I was like, I'm going to put classics on the wheel. And I have a feeling that the karma of the game is going to test it, because he was thinking he was king shit. And I was like, all right, let's see. And if he had gotten classics and he had powered through classics and he had got them all right, or got a majority of them right, I'd have been the first one to be like, dude, go get that fucking belt, But as a proud champion, I wanted to see if he could get through the gauntlet. And he didn't. And I ended up winning that match, and it was great, But a lot of people thought Kalinowski was going to beat me too. So I was almost always counted out in the big matches. And I came through 4 times to win belts. So I do dwell on the losses more than the victories, but I also need to be fair to myself. And hopefully some of you are watching right now. Be fair to yourself and appreciate the victories you do have in life, because the losses are always there for you to use them to push yourself down. Have the same energy to take those victories and elevate yourself. That matters, The Outlaw, I don't want to get too vulnerable here, but that matters. So, and as far as tag matches, I don't think anything can beat Orlando. It was great beating the Schmoes twice. Great beating Rotten Tomatoes. A great beating that darn cat, whatever they were called. I forget what they were called. Those were all great matches. Beating team champs. Those were all great matches. The Patriots match sucked my nuts. Those were always going to suck my nuts. But like that match in Orlando, because of where I was at in terms of my confidence in the game, where I was at, with Dan, we were going to break up if we didn't win. And in front of a live crowd and playing corruption. It was all fucking great because Kalinowski is a friend. And so, but he is competitive like I am. So to beat him and to beat Chance, who really was a guy who had come into the league with a lot of fire, to beat him finally, to avenge us losing to them in that first round of the tournament, it meant so much. So it was great. Those are the two that I would say for sure. Let's see here. What else have we got here? Maria Zambano. Hi, Maria. Marie Zambano. Sorry. Marie Zambano says, nothing beats Schmoedown live. So glad I got to go to two Brooklyn events and Spectacular 6. Loved meeting everyone and sharing my poems. That's right, Marie. Marie gave me one of her poems, I think. Maria, right? You gave it to me at the Schmoedown Spectacular last year. I still have it. I have all the memorabilia for the Schmoedown in the boxes in the closet right there. If I ever need to access it for a pick-me-up or whatever, those are always just there. So thank you for that. Yeah, Marie, you were the best. You were fantastic. And I wish I'd beaten Ethan so I could have been there at that Brooklyn event to take on Dan. That's another kind of regret of mine is I never got to play in Brooklyn live. That would have been awesome. As a boy who loves New York, as a New York Yankee fan, shout out to Aaron Judge, by the way, it would have been awesome to play live in Brooklyn, but unfortunately, it didn't happen. So it was a shame. Camboso says, oh, shout out to the Lady Outlaw. She is indeed the backbone of Rocha. For sure. Lady Outlaw coming into my life right before the Bibiani match. Lady Outlaw came into my life. We started seeing each other. We started dating each other. I remember she got me ready for the match against Bibbs. Like we would spend hours doing movie trivia. She went to the library and rented trivia books, which I didn't know she did. And she surprised me one Saturday afternoon. And we just sat there all day. Look, my girlfriend is not the biggest movie fan. Reading questions to me is not something that would be the best way for her to spend her Saturday. So it meant the world to me that she was willing to do it. And she always understood my desire to play. She wasn't always a big fan of what it did to me, mental health wise, because she cares about me, but she always was a fan of me wanting to play. But always wanted me to be careful about it and take care of myself when those situations happen. So, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now, honestly, in my life in so many ways without her. She's such an essential part of my life, and I love her to pieces, for God's sakes, and for many reasons, but really a big reason for supporting me through the madness of this. And I'm sure Kalinowski would say the same thing about Shannon, who was really in it and was so supportive of him and the madness of that situation for sure. Let's see if we got any Streamlabs, any more Streamlabs that have come through. Smithy, what's up, Smithy? Thank you. Smithy says, thanks, Outlaw. You made what could have been like Movie Jeopardy into a crazy, hilarious, unhinged trivia show that was unlike anything I've ever seen. You've inspired me. I do movie trivia and wear a funny hat and want a belt. Thanks again, Outlaw. That's for sure. Thank you, Smithy, for sure. Yeah, Smithy, part of the Outlaw Nation Movie Trivia League. For those who don't know, we have an Outlaw Nation Movie Trivia League that is part of the Patreon. If you wanted to join the Outlaw Nation Outlaw Nation Patreon, that we have a Movie Trivia League. We have singles competition. We have movie-specific matches, like 50 questions about a specific film. We have tag teams matches, Inner Geekdom, or whatever. I forget what they're called. They're not called Inner Geekdom, but they're nerd matches. I can't remember what the name of those are. And they're great. Soul and the crew there running those matches, and a lot of the patrons in my Patreon play each other, and it's a fun time for sure. And there's different format from the Schmoedown. It's a completely different format, but it's a blast. And I've played a couple of those matches, and they've been great. They've been great to play a couple of those matches against them for sure. But yeah, thank you, Smithy. I appreciate it. And yeah, I'm sure you're right. Like I think that's the kind of the genius of Christian. As I said, I'll always give him credit because I always give him criticism as well as a balance. Part of the genius of Christian was that he sensed that I could be the guy that would take this to the next level. He had his Riley, he had his Dan, those kind of, everyman players who people liked naturally, because Dan and Mark have fantastic energies and are really lovable guys, likable guys. I was more the electricity. I was more the shit you hated yourself for watching. And I was proud to fill that role, because it allowed me to play that wrestling heel that I've always wanted to play. And getting a chance to do that in the Schmoedown for people to enjoy was fantastic, and no matter what the fallout at times was, it was worth it in the end because the show got bigger because of it and because of other players as well. I'm not taking full credit. The other players who filled those holes for other fans who wanted to see players like them in the Movie Trivia Schmoedown, all of it combined to help people to be a part of it, and to be able to influence people to, kind of come in and be characters, and that it was safe to be a character, I think was great, and they always say that, right? Someone has to go through the wall first. I went through the wall first, suffer the slings and arrows. I knew people were talking some negative stuff about me behind my back because of my tactics or my antics in the game, or winning so much and being the focus and getting so much of the spotlight. And that's going to happen. That's part of the jealousy. That's part of the game. You have to understand what did Cat Williams say? If you only have 16 haters, you better work hard to get yourself 18 haters, because haters means that you're doing a good job. Because Dan is Dan, and Riley and Schnepp, those are the rarities. Most people are kind of on their own journeys and make mistakes and missteps and what have you. And so those are the people that I feel like I represented, is the people who wanted to do well, but also can kind of give in to their more electric natures at times. But the emotion is real, and the humanity is real underneath it. And that's kind of what I brought to the game, and win at almost all costs, but not the ultimate cost, of course, but win at almost all costs. And a big part of that was, how you respected the game and respected the people you played with, and I'll always hold on to that. I always respected the game, man. I never put the game above me. Some people did, and it always bit them in the ass. To me, the Schmoedown was a living entity. And if you fuck with a living entity, that will bite you in the ass. Like the TKO with Dan, I wasn't 100% focused before that match. And I was dealing with my own complicated issues with Christian, with the Schmoedown and all of that. And if I had put all of that away and just kind of really focused on getting fully 100% prepared, I think I'd have delivered a better match. And so the Schmoedown entity bit me in the ass. But the Schmoedown entity, when I have pledged my fealty to it, when I have given myself to it, it has rewarded me way more often than it hasn't. And when I saw people who didn't understand that this was a living thing and would do certain things or would take certain routes, and when I would hear about it, and then karma or the living entity would curse them in some way, I always felt like, hey, you deserved it. You lost that match because you don't respect the game. You lost that match because you laugh at the questions or you scoff at these things, and you're always trying to blame everybody else. And that's an insult to the game. So you don't have to believe as I believe. That's just how I believe. And that's how I always approached it, which is why I'll always love and respect it for what it gave me, because I gave all that I could to it. And some of you may think I'm insane. Some of you may think I'm crazy, but that's how I approached it. I always believe in whatever you give something, that's what you'll get back way more often than not. And if you're being honest with yourself when you're not getting back what you want, how much are you really dedicating yourself to it? You know, those are the things I would say. Let's see if I got any more Streamlabs and Super Chats. Hey, PJ's in here. What's up, PJ? Love, man. PJ Campbell saying, what does he say? It wasn't always easy, Alan, but boy, I love doing it. Much like Rocha, I put my all into it, left it all out on the line. Absolutely. Let me tell you something about PJ Campbell, man. I've said this before about Kaminowski, but it's really true with PJ, man. We have been hanging and banging as friends for a long time in the Schmoedown. PJ, in another life, was a fan of the game. He would come to the matches, and I was always like, oh, he's a fan. He'd always be like, hey, John, do you want a Jamba Juice or something? And he'd bring me a Jamba Juice. And it's just like you hear about those guys that start out like just bringing the coffee or whatever, and then they just they're always there. They're always willing to give of themselves to the entity of the Schmoedown because they respect it so much. They love it so much. And PJ was always one of those guys, man. PJ would do production. PJ would help out on production. PJ was never like scoffing at anything, never hated doing. Well, he might have hated, but he never said it out loud. He always did it. Even when if I could say this, even when he wasn't getting paid, PJ would put in those hours at live events that we were putting on to help the production crew, help Christian, help the producers, help the segment producers. PJ was always available, and initially, you might think like, oh, why does he want to help so much? Because you're just kind of like, well, what's this all about? And then you get to talk to PJ and you realize PJ is one of the nice guys who really gives of himself and he's honest about it. And so when he found himself, like when he started moving up the chain and then became a question writer and then the head question writer, I wasn't surprised and I was always happy for him. And one of the secret truths I think I can say now about PJ is that whenever I was shaky about a match, whenever I was nervous, sometimes even day of, I would text him and I would say like, I don't think it's going to happen tonight or today. I think I'm going to get wiped out. I got no chance. Everyone wants me to lose. I can't fight all that energy by myself. I'm like Jon Snow pulling the sword out with horses coming. And PJ would always send me back this like huge paragraph to get me to remember who the Outlaw was, to get me to remember what the Outlaw, his Outlaw's legacy is, and to get me to remember who I am as John Rocha and my knowledge of movies. And way more often than not, it worked wonders to get me in the right frame of mind. And I almost always would text him afterwards and say, you were fucking right, man. And he was always very happy for me. So that's something I'll always cherish in PJ, is that he was always a guy who understood the legacy of what I was trying to create, never judged me for it. And we went down the road together, so to speak, because he was there almost at the beginning of me becoming the Outlaw and all that I went through. One of the first people to congratulate me when I beat Dan and came out and sat on that ratty ass orange sofa was PJ, and he sat with me and talked for a little bit about it and all of that. And I always appreciated that. So, we're both Yankees fans. We're both fans of the Schmoedown, and I'll always appreciate PJ's contributions to it on so many levels, not just question writing. So making that clear. There you go. So it's true. He says, I love you, man. I couldn't have done this without you two. We went through it all together. Goddamn right we did. Goddamn right we did. John was the Jim Plunkett of the Schmoedown. I don't know what that means. Does that mean? Well, he won. I won 4 belts. He only won 2. So I'm not the Jim Plunkett of the Schmoedown. I'm the Joe. Wait, who won 4 Super Bowls? Terry Bradshaw. I'm the Terry Bradshaw of the Schmoedown, for God's sakes. But I love Jim Plunkett. He's a fucking Latino. So shout out. PJ saying, I'll never love you. Respect, brother. Same. Always the same. Always the same. Let's see here if we got any more Streamlabs that have come through. D. Munoz says, did you ever battle John Schnepp? You, Mark Ellis, and Schnepp had amazing Collider conversations. Oh, yeah. I mean, those were great, right? I mean, Mark's great. And of course, seeing him, doing all the things that he's doing now, he's got a comedy special coming up that he's shooting in LA. I'm always nothing but happy for Mark. And the three of us getting together because we would always like have fun busting balls, but also talking about shit and really getting into it. And we understood when to be serious, when to be playful, and to vacillate in between as we were having conversations about any subject. And I think the three of us kind of operated on a certain level that I always appreciated, and it was always fun for us to do. So yeah, absolutely, for sure, PJ. I'm sorry, Schnepp and Ellis were the best. So I hear you, Munoz, for sure. We had great time on camera and off. There were sometimes some great, because sometimes Schnepp would stay after the show and just sit there in the middle table of Collider for like hours, just writing or drawing or looking stuff up on the internet. And it was so interesting, just John solitarily sitting there, and people would come up and he'd have conversations with them, and it was great. So I love it. All right, let's see if there's any more. Just reasonable levels. Okay, cool. I got all the Streamlabs. I wanted to make sure I got all the Streamlabs and the super chats. We should get to these play alongs here soon. So if you want to send in some final, some Streamlabs and super chats now as we go along, feel free. I'm going to take a drink because I haven't drank. I've been on for an hour and 20 minutes. I haven't taken one drink. So I need to get this throat a little bit cleared up. Oh, yeah, Haskell saying Ellis, John, and Schnepp. Right. 2017 New York Comic-Con weekend. Ellis let John and Schnepp have a few minutes on stage at this comedy show. First time I met all three of them. That's right. Yeah, that was a blast doing the comedy show in New York. That was my second time or third time on stage, and I had some good jokes and then kind of lost my way in the middle and then found my way back at the end. But it was a blast to be able to do it. And John just did it all. I mean, that's one of the marvels of John Schnepp. I asked him, I said, John, do you have your set list? What are you going to talk about? He's like, no, I don't have anything really. I'm just going to, whatever I feel like talking about, I'm just going to come out and tell a story. I was like, what? Yeah, dude. I mean, whatever occurs to me. And I just sat there going, Jesus Christ, because I am pacing back and forth, wondering if what I've constructed works. And here he is like, I'm just going to tell a story and let's see what happens. And sure enough, went out there and just absolutely murdered. People loved it. And it was so incredible. And everything was off the cuff, I mean, he didn't write out the story. He just told the story and people loved it. That's the gift of, that's the gift of John Schnepp. Always. That's the gift of John Schnepp. He was the best. Oh yeah. And Schnepp got hammered. That's right. Schnepp was hammered. So it was the best. Yeah. Cause I think he did kind of rattle on there at the end, but it was the best for sure. All right. If you want to send in your stuff, send in now. We're going to start with the, tag team match, and I might fast forward some stuff just to get to the matches because I just want to play along with the matches, and I don't want this to be a 4-hour show. I'm only doing the tag teams and the singles matches, so we'll start with the tag teams. Hopefully that's about 30 minutes, and then we'll get to the singles match, and we'll get to that. I might play the promos. I don't know if I'll play the remembrances, but I'll play the promos and then get to the match. Because I want to comment on it. And I will be the outlaw while I'm playing. So there might be comments, there might be barbs, there might be plaudits and compliments or some ball busting of the competitors for sure. But I'm looking forward to it because the first match, of course, is Shazam with Bibiani and the kid. And I mean, and shout out to Bibiani, how much he's kind of grown in the game. And how much our friendship has changed for sure. I mean, I respect Bibbs now very much and always like when Bibbs is hanging out and commenting and, on Twitter when he occasionally comments on stuff that I post. It's always great with Bibbs. And we've got our relationship, a lot of the ups and downs. And we've both kind of, put all that to bed. And now there's a respect between us and a friendship between us, which I cherish, because I think Bibbs is one of the smartest motherfuckers in this sphere and in my orbit. Well, so I always appreciate that. That's the thing is, man, I have beef. Oh, we got a bot in here. Let's block the bot. I might have beef with you, but we can always settle the beef if you come to me man to man or person to person. Remove gender, person to person, and talk it out. especially if you're the one who caused the beef, or if there was issues because of some stuff that was misinterpreted, I'm always open to have the conversation. If you come at me from a respectful place, and Bibbs did that, and I did that when we were putting our stuff back together. So, I appreciate that madly. Never been one of these people that wants to have enmity with people unless they've created a situation to make me have enmity with them through lies or bullshit or accusations or whatever. And, to those people, if they don't want to make the effort to correct that, then I got nothing for you. That's part of self-respect, is not, putting yourself in a position where someone is able to disrespect you constantly. It doesn't make any sense. You have to have pride in yourself, and understand your self-worth so that people can respect you. Because if you don't respect yourself, what does RuPaul say? You can't love. How are you going to love anybody if you don't love yourself? How are you going to respect anybody if you don't respect yourself? That's how it works. Because if you have a negative opinion of yourself, if people like you, you're not going to trust them in a subconscious way. Because how can they? You're going to question their judgment because they choose to like you. And if you don't like you, that's the circle that you're in. If you don't like you and someone likes you, you can't respect that someone, because them liking you and you not liking you, you question their judgment. So you're caught in a cycle. When in fact, if you find the things that you like about yourself, have some more self-confidence, find your way to have some more self-worth and self-respect, then you will bring in people into your life who respect you. And that's important. Trust me. Haskell says the promos and the references are awesome and emotional. All right, fair enough. See, Fatfish says, "Hey, quit talking about me." Sure. Sure. Yeah, sure. All right, let's see. All right, well, let's. Is anything else you guys want to talk about? I mean, I've been talking for an hour and a half. I can't believe I've been going on for an hour and a half about this. But yeah, nothing but love for the time. Was it always great? No. Did I have fights with people? Yes. Did I get along with almost everybody a majority of the time? Yes. Do I have great remembrances? Shout out to Jen Sturger, who always was a great interviewer for me when we did our promos together. No one got it like Jen got it. Emma was great. Of course, for where she was at, I think it was a great thing to have Emma there. And it was a great learning curve for Emma to do that kind of stuff. She was great to play off with everybody. I mean, not much rattles Emma. So she was always good to roll with whatever people were saying. I think Grace interviewed me once or twice. I can't remember too much, but Grace was always fun. But Sturger was the one. And that's why I cried on stage last year, because of Sturger talking about, laying the boots down, laying the hat down. That got me. Fucker, that got me. And so, because we've been through all the things kind of together, and I have nothing but love for Jen and all she's been through. One of the nicest people, one of the best people, one of the most gorgeous people in the world. And one of the funniest people in the world. So, nothing but love for the Finstock Exchange last year. What a ride it was to Craig, to Moose, to Khan, to everybody involved, to Ty, to everybody involved, Taylor, sorry, I can't remember everybody right off bat, obviously Finstock, everybody who was involved in Finstock Exchange last year. It was a goal leader. It was an absolute blast to be a part of that whole crew and do our thing. Who am I leaving out? Is there anyone I'm leaving out? Kim Foster, who never got to play, unfortunately, because of work commitments. But Kim she was so supportive. She was so awesome to have in the faction. And I can't remember who else. Am I missing anybody? If I'm missing anybody, let me know. But yeah, they were great. The Horsemen, the first iteration of the Horsemen at the time, with Bibiani and with Burnett, who I, am still friends with, and certainly we're friends, and that was great. The Horsemen obviously with Dan and Riley and Inman and Nost, that whole reveal was awesome. Playing with Matt, Nost was so great, winning the title. Matt did more than people gave him credit for on our team. Matt was so great with the animation, so great with the regular stuff. so great with the music sometimes, which was really great and saved our asses more often than not. Who else? Oh, as I said, playing with JT was fantastic. The last iteration of the Horseman, I think, didn't 100%. I mean, to be honest, wasn't the greatest year for me. There was a lot of egos, a lot of it just wasn't a cohesive team. You know, you sometimes can bring too many stars onto a team and it doesn't really work 100% at the end. I think that's what that was. Did I have some great moments with them? For sure. Did I have some fun moments in Houston? Houston was awesome, meeting Booker T. Having Booker T say my name, having Booker T talk about the Outlaw John Rocha, just to say that out of his mouth was just, I mean, that's a gift. That's a blessing. To play with him, to play in his wrestling arena was awesome. In the ring, to come out down the platform like we were wrestlers, that was just so great. And having him do the Five Horsemen sign was so cool. Orlando was great. Houston, as I said, was awesome. Atlanta was so much fun. Managing Dan to a victory to win his belt back. That was so great. All of it, all of it was a blast for sure. Is there anything I miss? Anything I'm leaving out? Oh, the first live match with JT. Yeah, of course. That was so great. I was so nervous because JT kind of owned me in teams. I wasn't sure if I was going to get the job done. And then that promo, right? Outlaw Nation, that whole promo, again, off the cuff was just, it was an electricity and I felt it and I rode that wave. And then I beat JT and, I think the pressure got to JT and he messed up and he stumbled and I was able to take advantage to get the victory. And I spun Westerns, which really helped. And then me and Dan versus Winston and Stacy was great too. I mean, there was that thing where I said, turn off your phone. That's all impromptu in the moment. I think that's one of the things that people tell me all the time why they really loved me as a performer, because you never know what was going to come out of my mouth. You never know what was going to cause me to say whatever. And I was always swaggering on that stage, man. And it was a blast. It was so much fun to do that. And of course, the promo after we lost to Corruption, that whole promo where I really opened my soul and my heart to the viewers of the game. And there was a lot of pressure that day because we were the last match of the day. The matches had been running long. The production team had been there almost all day. And they were irritated and they were pissed and they were frustrated and they were making all these comments and cracks, which for them were giggly, funny times. But for those of us who were playing, kind of hurt our feelings because it's like, you're the production. You're supposed to be like on our side and helping us and whatever. And there you are, just treating us like shit sometimes. And it drove me insane sometimes. And then that was the pressure. And then us losing and to me, Ellis making the wrong decision there. It just all came to bear in that promo after the match, that interview. And big thanks to Dan Murrell for standing by me whenever I was emotional or whatever, when I was doing stuff. Because Dan just sat there and let me go, and Dan got emotional because we did, man. I mean, some of us gave everything we got to this game. And God loved Dan, because Dan, when I became disillusioned with the game, Dan kept giving 100%, 150% of the game. And I love him for that, because I couldn't do what he did. And that's something I always will respect Dan for, because he commits to himself to the game and always. And he lived and died by his wins and losses. People's comments got to him more than you all might think. He never let it show. But that's the strength of Dan Murrell, And so when we were doing that promo, he was so great to let me go. He knew. He was like, I'm just going to let him go. And I just poured it all out there. And I said, and I was addressing not just the fans, but also some of the people on the production crew who won't say names, but I was addressing them when I was saying it. Some of us give all our fucking lives. We study our asses off for hours to do this because there is a benefit. It's not just movie trivia to us. It's so much more. And then making the turn there when I said I wasn't sure if I was going to play Bibiani because I was so mad about the judgment. And then boom, something happened to me. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Yeah, Bibbs, I am playing you. And you better get ready because I'm going to come in there and smoke you. And even the Bibbs match was so great because I found out early that Bibbs was going to do something to try to fuck with me from somebody. I'm not going to say any names, but somebody clued me into what Bibbs would do, which Bibbs always hates and gets mad about because he thought he had some great plan for me. Bibbs prided himself on his entrances. And that's why I brought in my headphones because I had heard he was going to do something. So I got my noise canceling headphones. And when I walked out, because I wasn't the champion, I was a challenger. So I walked out first. As soon as he came out with all those people to sing, I put my headphones on, got the fuck off the stage and went and sat down. And as soon as they were done, someone tapped me and I was like, yeah. So I ruined Bibbs's thing that he was trying to do to me because you don't use me without telling me you're going to use me. Without clearing it with me first. I'm not going to play to help you if you don't run it by me. And if I don't want to do it, which I told him I didn't want to do it, don't think I'm going to go along with it, when it's happening. So I went and sat on my own. And that was my way of kind of messing with him too. Because, you got to do what you got to do in terms of the mental game to be in the right frame of mind to win, So that was always a blast. Those were some great, great memories in those matches for sure. Was part of your promo was in that final promo, John? Oh yeah. All right. That's true. Was it? I haven't seen the pro. Should we watch the promo first before we do the matches? Should we watch the promo first and have some fun with that? That would be fun. I think maybe, if you guys want. And, if you're here hanging out and you want to send in some Streamlabs and super chats, don't be shy. Send them in as we go along. And let's see. Let's watch the promo real quick. I don't have the promo up here. Let me see. I'll have to pull it up, and then we'll just start that, and then we'll go into the matches. Let's see. Schmoedown Spectacular promo. Where is it? He wanted me to do a Wait, is something going on right now? Saying goodbye to the Schmoedown rundown. Those guys scheduled a show at the same time as me. Wow. Thanks, guys. Maybe they had theirs already scheduled. Oh, here it is. The end of Movie Trivia Schmoedown. I think this is the one it is. All right. So let me stop sharing. Let me share that. Let's see. Of course, the Schmoedown rundown guys would try to fuck with my shit. Of course. All right, here it is. All right, so I guess we'll watch it. I'll react to it. I'll share this. Am I sharing the screen right now? Okay, let me do it like this so that we can all watch it. I should go on that show live. And kind of fuck with them. That would be funny. Let's watch this for now to get us ready for the play along. I hope you can hear.
Who will win, Cobster or JTE? Let's start it up. Round one, fight.
Try saying it first time.
Can you guys hear it? Let me know you can hear it. There he is. That's awesome. There's Alicia.
Welcome to the debut of the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. I'm Christian Harloff.
I am Mark Ellison. Christian, this is why you go to the movie.
There he is. Oh! There she is. McQueenie. Great Drake. Great Draco. Top 10 Boomaye. Oh, yes. Nice. Riley.
I can't wait to see where the rest of this series goes.
Oh, yeah, Miss Movies. That's right. Oh, new points record. That's right. Late to the party. Oh, there's those guys. Oh, that's right. The kids from Stranger Things. Yeah. Above the line. There's Hector. That's right. Inner Geek. And there's Eddie. Oh, and the tackle. The reveal. Yeah. God, so many people. Wow, so many people I haven't seen in a bit. Jesus. Look at young Winston. Oh, Jane Fonda, of course. Oh, yeah, beating Gibbs. Nice. Oh, yeah, that's right. The ladies come out. Shower. Oh. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Oh, there's Laura. There's the Smashers, son. One of the greats. Yeah. That's all the people. They're going to oh. TKO, that's right. We had that TKO shirt on, right? I never got my TKO shirt. I was supposed to get one signed. There's Lady Justice. Yeah.
Just about a decade ago that we descended upon Anaheim, California, and we got talking, and a concept came out of that meeting, and it became what you're witnessing today, the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. And it is with bittersweet hearts that we say after 9 seasons, this will be the final season of the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. We're not done yet.
You got one more big dance. The SCHMOEDOWN Spectacular VII. We hope you join us.
As Buzz Lightyear once said, we're going to fall with style.
That's Sean. Saul, yeah, Saul. Oh, Levine. Yeah, that's right. He came back and beat Marisol.
You know, you're never ready for something to end, but when it does, you have to realize that it's just the beginning of the next venture.
Somebody turn the lights off, man. Just like Cheers.
Wait, you're saying the show's over? I'll come back.
This is literally what competition is made of. This is what sports are made of. This is the stuff that inspires people.
It's more than just the Schmoedown. It really matters to people out there.
Don't tell us this is just trivia. This means so much to us.
This isn't just a game for those of us who play. We work hard to win, to play, to do everything, to show up and give you a damn good match.
We're fighters, and we will always get up here and answer the questions. So we're going out swinging.
I'm coming back for you, pal. You know that.
Smetsy. So great to see him walk out, man. Watching him from the curtain. He was so ready for that game. Marisol was great. I mean, defending all those matches live and whatever. Oh, sorry, Karen. Oh, crap. That's my shirt. So. Hey, Jonathan.
If it's not quite the end of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade with us riding off into the sunset,
Look at the town
it's
on
also
that
not
table.
Thelma and Louise. Christian, Mark, and in the words of Luke Skywalker, no one's ever really gone.
That's awesome. That is so cool. That's awesome. That's a cool little promo. Not gonna lie. That was awesome. And of course, leaving people thinking that the possibility is there that we come back could be interesting for sure. Let's see here. Oh, look at that. Look at all those people. Yeah, cool. Thanks, Jack. Jack says, Outlaw, in all of your Schmoedown history, what questions were the ones you were the happiest knowing or guessing and hated that you missed the most? I will say I hated not going with my gut for Game of Death last year. I thought it. I kept mulling it over in my head, and for some stupid reason, I talked myself out of it. So that will always stick in my craw. I knew the Jane Fonda answer. I just knew it a little bit too late to write it down. Those guys were able to work Christian over. Christian should have given me that point. As far as the ones I was happiest knowing, I think even though we lost to Corruption twice, I think both those times getting the 5-pointer, both the Romancing the Stone one with Danny DeVito and the 5-pointer for the virtual match of After Hours, I think it was, the Scorsese film that they asked about, because I think Dan said he didn't know it. So I felt proud that at least I gave us a chance to win both of those matches, even though in the end we didn't win. I gave us a chance by getting those 2 5-pointers, because everyone thought Dan carried me. So to be able to get those things were so great. Well, not everybody, but some people that were a very loud minority thought Dan carried me, and I always felt proud that I was able to push back on that. I think knowing the answer for Anna and the King to beat Bibbs, that was great. And I will say this in the match, which I haven't even talked about, the bronchitis match, defending the belt. I think 2 things in that match. One, getting that enemy mind question, which I had been waiting years for that to show up in the Schmoedown. To have it show up in that match was so great because Dan didn't know it and I knew it, and boom, that helped us. And then fucking with the kid with the buzzers. Like I said, it's a mental game. Sometimes you can break people's rhythms by just kind of messing with them a little bit. And so I felt the need in that moment to say something about Brendan and his aggressive approach to the buzzers, shall we say. So that was those things. So those are the things. Is there any other ones that I hated missing? I mean, I can't hate a miss. I didn't know Bestman, so I didn't hate missing that one. Yeah, no. I mean, it's rare that I hated missing a question, because I mean, if I missed it, I didn't know it. So it's a rare. I guess the back and forth with Bateman, the most recent last one, I think last year, like not knowing the voice of the lead in Angry Birds. I had studied every other person in the in that animated film, and for whatever reason, I had forgotten, and my team who was training me had forgotten to like get me to memorize the lead voice in Angry Birds. And if we had memorized that, I'd have won that match. So it's just those things. You just never know. It's always the luck of the draw. No matter how much you prepare, it's always luck of the draw, because plenty of people have lost matches where they have prepared for hours and days and weeks on end. And for whatever reason, it just starts to fucking crater. And that's the game. And those are the hardest ones to come back from for sure. Let's see here. Yeah, someone already mentioned Bestman, but I can't hate that because I didn't know it. So I think I blocked that person, the bot that's in here. So let me know if I haven't. Yeah, Alan Smith, he's saying Enemy Mind. That was the one I got. That's for sure. All right, 68 of you joining me right now. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm going to jump into play here in just a second. I'm going to make it quick for sure. But going to have some fun doing all of that. And hopefully you guys will enjoy that as well. I feel like I should storm the Schmoedown Rundown, guys. Don't you? I feel like I should jump on that show and see if we can go on live with them and all of you guys as well. I wonder if they'll do that.
Covers
Yeah.
the Schmoedown, and that really didn't hit me until just
I'm
right
a
now. I was
comment.
saying, like, man, this is actually officially in official terms. This is it.
Damn. Well, why'd you have to make it a downer here? Like
because I just wanted to take it in and just realize, hey, it's been an absolutely incredible run, covering the Schmoedown on the rundown and talking all about it with you and Steph and PLD and Chris Clark and Aaron Turner and Brian Davis and Paul Wolf. Who is that guy? We know him. It's been a surreal ride, and it's, even though we were like canceled in July into June.
We were.
It's been kind of like a slow death. It's been like the world's longest funeral for the Schmoedown, I felt like. And now that day is here. I mean, it was Saturday, but now for at least, we had we had a lot of people come on the show. I didn't think
I was just watching there. So we'll see if they invite me on, we'll jump back on. We'll jump on for sure. But I can't imagine. I don't know if they will or not. So we'll see.
And
we'll see.
Could not be more
We'll
thankful for everyone who's ever appeared on the show. This is some of the stuff we've said on what we thought was our last show, but
we'll see. We'll see. They can always invite me on if they want. Timothy Williams says, I came to the Schmoedown for the top 10. I stayed for the Outlaw, and you never disappointed, mate. You should be proud of all your achievements and the smiles you put on so many faces. It's 2:45 p.m. here, but I'm cracking a beer to the Outlaw. Hooroo. That's right. Thank you, Timothy. Timothy's in Australia. I appreciate it, Timmy. You're the best. And if those motherfuckers want to invite me on their show, I will come on live and raid their show for sure, but we'll see. But let's get to the play along here. A lot of you have been waiting for it, so let's share that, and let's get it going. Have fun. If you have your boards with you, join me for this. And let's have some fun playing here. And yeah, I think we're good to go, right? I think we're good to go to play. So let's get it on. Let's start the tag teams titles match. I have my board here next to me. Hit a like on this video. Send in your Streamlabs and Super Chats as we go along. And as I said, I'm going to try to speed this along and get to the matches, because that's all I want to do is play along with the matches as a final kind of play along for the Outlaw. So, all right. Let's go to full screen and play. Oh, look at that. Of course, he puts his boys on first.
Oh, Shire Wolves!
There they are. Look at them. Great. Better get my board. All right, got my board.
The movie guy.
There we are, me and JT, Mount Rushmore. Are the founding fathers going to make a visit here? Are we going to get a little?
Starts here. The movement starts tonight. I challenge them. Bring it on, Harris Brothers.
Right now, do it. And your winner.
Great champion. Is that Viviani screaming? It's Viviani screaming. Look at all these tag teams. There we are.
Fathers.
Show us winning the belts, son. Come on.
New Movie Trivia Schmoedown.
Last two champions, King Arthur and Shazam. So cool.
You know, it means a lot. I have two matches today.
No offense, Coy.
It shows what we did
right. Coy's like
as
the
a
manager
faction.
for
So
them, right?
to have the last ever filming day feature two
get to the matches.
Mercs, Andrew DiMolanta having the last Star Wars match, Shazam.
You know what? I'm going to jump ahead because I just
match.
want to go to the matches.
Like
so
the Mercs got
let's
here
get to Ken
and we did it, and I'm so proud of.
Trivia.
Here we go. All right, let's get to Ken.
And Gazpacho. Also very good cold, as Alfred the Butler taught us in Batman Returns.
All right, here we go.
Partner? I'm ready. Let's do this, baby. Let's get there before the alcohol hits him, Ken.
Con, you're in here.
Gentlemen, and all
What's
of
up,
our
Con?
friends
Respect,
around the world.
Sorry I couldn't
it's
do your
time
promo.
for the Movie Trivia Schmoedown.
I hope the sound is good.
This next match is scheduled for 5 rounds and is for the Movie Trivia Schmoedown Team Championship of the World. Introducing first.
Oh, he's one of the best pipes in the business, ladies and gentlemen. Ken Knapp's.
The challengers with a record of 14
I'm going to move the mic over
3
here
defeats,
so that
4
I
by knockout.
can I'm talking to the
Hey.
mic this way.
or the two-time former Movie Trivia Schmoedown Team Champions of the World, representing the Quirky Marks and accompanied by their manager,
Quirky Marks.
Shandu. He is a former Movie Trivia Schmoedown Champion of the World.
Excited, more excited.
Sophie Bibiani and
Bibbs.
Brendan the Kid Meyer.
Meyer.
They are
Damn. Love their intros. They said this could be the biggest one yet. Here they go, the real rejects. There's Troy, there's Bibiani, there's the kid. And oh my goodness, we are experiencing technical difficulties.
Yeah, we're sorry, folks. We're going to try to get that camera back up and running, but Shazam's
Bibbs
biggest entrance is currently underway. And look, it's almost every Schmoedown player in history.
This is
Gubbins! What's up, Peggy G?
Return of former champion superstars.
Shout out to
Everyone
Peggy G,
you
one of the
wanted
bright
to see
stars of the last
coming
couple seasons.
tonight, and oh, but there's Grand Marshal Diamond, David Lee Roth performing songs from the musical Cats.
What is this?
It's
What
a
is this
tribute,
promo?
You know, to the history of William the Beast Bibiani is here with a 40 chainsaw salute. And look out, because those things are sharp. And my God, they
85
are
of you
on.
watching right now. Thanks so much for joining me for this play along. Please make sure you hit a like on this video. If you want to send in a Streamlab or Super Chat, you see the Streamlab's address on the screen there. It's also pinned in the chat. Has it not? Oh, I didn't pin it in the chat.
By Saltcat Soap.
Been going on for almost 2 hours.
Hey, at patreon.com/saltcat-soap.
Whoops-a-daisy.
And here come the elephants. There's a train herd of elephants.
What happened?
That are here to
Is this
wish them
all?
off on their very special day.
Is this all
And
just
here
kind of
come
a weird
the
thing?
trained mice that are also
Wait,
here.
elephants don't like mice.
No, elephants do not like the mice. It seems to be, and yes, they are stampeding, and it looks like, oh my God, the former contestants of the Movie Trivia Schmoedown have run directly into the
wild berries. They're down.
The wild berries are
The
down.
wild berries are down. Oh, the Schmoemanity.
Oh, boy. Oh, Jesus.
That escalated quickly.
Yeah. I would not have been a part of this. But shout out to everybody who is, man.
All right. Well, Andrew, I think we're going to continue with the match here. But kids, remember what they taught us all in first grade. Elephants, mice, and chainsaws do not mix. Thank you to Shazam for the effort, anyway. Speaking of effort, it was downtown Griffey Nooms who made every possible attempt to be here today.
All
but
right,
he
Griffin
sort of stuck in
Newman
a
on
portal
the
between
Stock
Earth and
Exchange as
Eternia.
well.
You know how that
Shout out to
goes.
Late to the
And
Party
so
who's in
it's
here.
sort of
Late to the
mystery here
Party,
because we know
yo.
that King Khan is going to be
Great
here. We
to
know
see you
King
guys.
Khan is competing.
Also
He's one of the best
legends in the
competitors we've
Schmoedown
seen in the last
themselves
couple seasons.
for numerous
but now
reasons.
His teammate remains a mystery.
I remember
to
when
possibly
they
clear
would
that
come
up,
up and
we
shoot
go back to Ken Knapsack.
video of us.
And
before
their
matches.
opponents.
Now, of course,
He is
they're a
one
big
half
part
of the Movie Trivia Schmoedown Team Champions of the World, representing King Arthur.
If you haven't subscribed,
This
go subscribe.
is King Khan.
All right, so we expected this part of King Arthur to show
carrying
up. He's got
both
the crown,
belts.
He's got both
Khan,
belts.
always stop and look at the camera. Why are you just walking straight to the desk? God damn it, Khan. Stop. Let the camera take you in.
2-on-1 match here at
Embrace
Spectacular.
your status. Then walk.
I mean, so unfortunately, I could not get Griffey Nooms to show up. But I do have a partner. He is a former champion.
Partner.
And just play the music.
How crazy would you be if I had
I'm going to stab him. I'm going to stab you.
Add to the blood on the floor.
You hear that music, though?
Billy Joel.
That is not Billy Joel.
No?
That is a former champion, as Khan hinted at.
Okay.
If you're looking at your watches,
Who do we got here?
I think that's prime time, baby.
and there it is! Prime time Oyama, and there is and Marshall up swag.
Guy doing his best
this
Bobby
is,
Heenan and ruining
something new for all of
the
us,
turn,
Shazam, who now has to face the
reveal
combined
before it
might
hap-
of
right
a King
before it
Khan
happens.
and a prime
What's
time.
wrong?
You know, a lot of times you think when a team has to substitute someone out, they have
Yama.
an advantage over them.
Look at
Prime
King
time
Swag
being the
over
villain,
there.
another former champion. This is going to be a hell of a team's match, Ellis.
That's right.
Interesting.
Winston
I
Marshall
love it.
is always prepared to give his teams quick chemistry, and that's what they're going to need today to take on Shazam. And so we want to make sure the teams are set. Shazam, that just happened, and we'll send our farewells to the surviving family. Let's go.
We've
over
retained the
to-
services of a very, solid league.
All right, let's get to the questions for God's sake. No offense, Con. No offense, Con. I got to get to the questions.
Canonically dead.
Bibbs will
All
rattle
right,
on
we'll
for
get
like 20
just a
minutes
spot
before we get to the
working on
questions.
that. In the meantime, I want to start with King Arthur.
What's this here? Who did not voice? Okay, all right, here we go.
King Arthur,
I guess we're going to get to the questions now. So maybe I jumped the gun here. Sorry about that, guys. Here we go. All right. Let's get ready.
All right.
Let's do it.
You know the rules. 1 point apiece in round number 1. 10 questions. The first one is going to be proctored by Andrew Guy.
No, I have not
Starting with
studied.
sequels
So let's
and
see what happens.
prequels. What 2013 fantasy prequel directed by Sam Raimi features performances from Mila Kunis, Bruce Campbell, Zach Braff, and Michelle Williams?
2013.
All right. I put you blind into a movie theater, and I say
Fantasy
you
prequel.
either got to see a sequel or you got to see a prequel.
Oh, shit. Do I already not know this?
Well, if I'm blind in a movie theater, Ellis, I'll probably listen to either one of them.
Very good point you just brought up. 5, 4, 3,
Oh,
2.
I already don't know.
Pens
Oh,
down,
wait.
and let's go to
Oh.
Shazam. Starting with
Oz. Yes.
Oz the Great and Powerful.
Oz the Great and
Yes.
Powerful is accurate.
I'm going to count that because I said it.
And powerful.
All those words are in the correct order. Does Primetime have it?
They removed boring from the title, but it still fits with the movie. Oz the Great and
Shots
Powerful.
fired and King Kong.
Starting with a blank check favorite. Oz the Great and Powerful.
I said it before they did, so I'm going to
Well
give
done,
myself
Dodo,
a point
and
there.
we move on.
Con,
to
I know
your
you
next question.
disagree,
That's
but I'm going to
called
give myself a point.
animated movies, and in the style of one of our favorite type of questions this season. Of the following actors, who did not voice a character in Kubo and the Two Strings? Matthew McConaughey, Kate Mara, Ralph Fiennes, or Charlize Theron?
That, I
There's a bit of a
think.
debate back in the day. Is it Theron or Theron? Which way did you break?
I thought we were going with the Ralph Rafe way, so I think with Charlize I go for
Isn't he also Ray?
Ray.
Or is there another Ray Fiennes? I'm thinking.
Rafe.
There's a Joseph.
Yes.
Gosh.
Watch Handmaid's Tale.
Cool.
I said Oz.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
One, you watch a lot of television. Pen down, let's go to King Kong.
Kate Mara.
Kate Mara is
Oh,
accurate.
damn.
How about Primetime?
I put Ray Fiennes.
Kate Mara.
There it is.
All right.
How about the Beast?
Kate Mara.
And the Kid.
Kate Mara.
Is also accurate.
All right.
Down
perfect.
one.
Thus far, as we get into our third question,
So I'm gonna put
famous
my score up
actors
here.
and actresses is your category.
Okay.
What Remember the Titans actor appears in the following films? Unstoppable, John Q, Clerks 2, and American History X.
Favorite movies with letter X in the title? I go Malcolm X, and then I go Jason Part 10. I think
I
that's
am
where he goes to space.
not doing well here.
I'll repeat the question.
Okay, sure. Just interrupt us. That's fine. Category is famous actors and actresses. What Remember the Titans actor appears in the following films? Unstoppable, John Q, Clerks 2, and American History X. What about Ex Machina? Does that count?
Ah,
Oh,
shit.
wow.
I'm just going to take a wild guess.
I'm nice like that because I'm nailing it in. It's the last one.
It is.
I have no
That's
idea.
not Ice-T, ladies and gentlemen.
Never was.
Jesus.
5, 4.
Oh, actually, you know what? Repeat the question.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Guys, come on.
Let's got a lot of matches to
Do
get
it now.
through. Here we go.
Let's do it.
One repeat used on either side. Famous actors and actresses is the category. What Remember the Titans actor appears in the following films? Unstoppable, John Q, Clerks 2, and
I only
American
remember
History X.
Americans are Elliot Gould, Beverly D'Angelo,
Yeah, pretty much. And we still got
Stacey
Four
Keach.
rounds.
X. Yeah.
Remember the Titans question.
Is it
Wait,
Stacey?
this is a 5-rounder.
It's a 5-rounder. Thanks for showing up. 5, 4.
Edward Furlong? I don't know. I wrote somebody down, but I don't think I'm
Buzzers
right.
here, pens down. Let's go to the Beast.
Is it Rosario Dawson?
It is not Rosario
Oh.
Dawson. How about the Kid?
Ethan Suplee?
That is
Oh,
there it is. How about
Good job,
Apollo
Kid.
Yama?
There's no river wide enough. Ethan Suplee.
There it is. And
Nice.
Ethan Suplee.
Nice.
I have Will Patton.
Everybody got
Will
it.
Patton.
Except
I got
for
that at the last minute.
the Beast.
Good use of the
Nice,
repeat
nice.
question.
He is
So
in
it
two
is
of them, though.
6 to 5
I
as
know,
we
he's
go
saying
to
that.
your next category here is musicians in film.
Okay.
And the question:
Rough start.
famed musician has portrayed Andy Warhol, a Goblin King, and the man who fell to earth.
It's too easy.
This is like when we had the Annie question. And I would just be like, oh, I love Annie.
Yes.
Because I am a fan of this person as well.
Yeah, you almost gave it away.
Sure did.
Are you going to do one before the end of the show?
Why not? What are you going to do?
5, 4.
I got blood on my shoes and I'm
3,
drunk.
2, 1. Pens down, and let's try.
David Bowie.
You are accurate.
David
How about Pollyanna?
David Bowie.
Prime time. Set your clocks. Beast.
Wait, can you see?
Bowie's in films. And the kid.
David Bowie.
He's old enough to play David Bowie.
2 out of 4, I think. Right?
Halfway through round number 1, we're getting to the category of drama. Which of the following did not appear in 2004's
Oh, I got this one.
Eternal Sunshine of
easy.
the Spotless Mind? Tom Wilkinson, Linda Fiorentino, Elijah Wood, and Jane Addams.
That's or Jane Addams.
And or James Adams.
You can hype it. Oh, wow.
J-Dog saying Ethan Suplee has lost a lot of ton of weight and inspiration.
It's a championship match.
2. Well, I think they're watching the last match.
Yeah.
And getting awful company. Let's go to the kid.
Linda Fiorentino?
Nailed it. How about the beast?
Linda Fiorentino.
Linda Fiorentino.
He also got it. Prime time.
Linda Fiorentino.
And Con.
Wow, all the classics.
There it is.
I do not know who that is.
She's in Men in Black.
Yo, this is
Oh,
She
okay.
plays the mortician.
Yeah.
Or Linda Fiorentino.
Men in Black. Let's go to, speaking of Men in Black, fantasy science fiction. And here's the question. How many Star Trek films were directed by cast members of the franchise?
Shit.
It's a nice little additional layer of difficulty.
Enjoy your repeats while you got them.
2 left per team, by the way.
Yeah, I might give him 17 seconds here.
Yeah, why not? I like how when I asked who that person was.
All right, I'm going to guess,
The girl in Men in Black.
because I think one of them did 2 of them,
4,
but
3,
I could be wrong.
2, 1. I have a feeling what went through every competitor's head was, I can think really hard about this, but I don't want to waste the brain cells. So I'm just writing a number down.
My favorite number down.
Let's try prime time first.
I have 5.
What is happening?
That's correct.
Wow,
How
5.
about
Damn.
Con?
5 films.
Come on.
Oh, shit, I put
Beast?
4.
5. Kid?
5.
Oh,
What is this?
what are we even doing here?
You need to step up your game,
I'm getting
PLD
killed
and
here.
PJ.
Wow.
The one thing you can count on being accurate here is that Andrew and I are on
had
the right side of
Nimoy,
it.
Shatner,
That's
Frakes
right.
directed.
Question number
Did
7
Nimoy
in the
direct the
category
film?
of
Oh, he must have
Oscars.
directed
Which
Search for
director
Spock.
has won the most Academy Awards for Best Director? You do not have to tell us
Director
how
has won
many.
the.
I'm sure one of you or two.
think
of you.
Now
it's-
I'm mad and I want to stump him. How about you?
Yeah. Let's just start. We can write our own questions.
It is.
here.
Well,
These are hard
it's
first round
the answer's
questions.
Point break.
The new one.
5. Go outside, take a lap, come back, and you can behave.
2 Frakes, 2 Frakes, 2 Nimoys. Yeah, I forgot about the
Well,
second
hands down,
Nimoy.
and
I
let's
knew there
go
was 2
to the
Frakes, but I
Beast.
forgot about the second
John
Nimoy.
Ford.
Is correct. And
Yep.
good.
John Ford.
John
And
Ford.
prime time.
That's what I got.
50% from the line at Best Director. John Ford.
That is accurate on both counts.
So 4 for
And
me.
John has it as well.
Everyone
And
name the films.
we'll
Oh, there's Bibbs.
try that at lunch.
That's a big one.
4 times total. I'll give you that, and I'll get you to do it.
All right, fine.
Your next question is in the category of remakes and reboots. If
All right.
you're the first time, let's make it worse. Here's your question.
Okay.
What 2010's Universal Monster Horror remake featured supporting performances from
Oh.
Emily Blunt, Hugo Weaving, and Anthony Hopkins?
Easy.
I call him Tony.
You guys are on that level.
Dear friend.
Do you know that there was a remake / I guess it's not either of those things. Top Gun Maverick.
Jesus Christ.
I appreciate where you're
Remake of
going.
Alcazar Ball.
I think that would help me lose a
Yeah,
match
yeah.
in calling it.
Oh, that's a good
question about that at this
That'd be
point.
great.
5, 4. Remember when the plane went up and then it went right back
Went
down?
straight down.
3,
They had to go over the hill.
2,
Cool.
1. Pens down, and we're going to try, let's go to prime time.
The Wolfman.
The Wolfman is correct.
The Wolfman.
And Con.
The Coyote.
How's the
Wolfman.
correct answer? How about the Beast?
Oh, Jesus.
The Wolfman.
I expected nothing less. And
myself
wow,
5.
all right. Lock him up.
Oscar
5
winning
so
The
far.
Wolf.
How many have I missed?
All right. Question number 9 in the category of action adventure movies.
Okay.
In what 1990s action film will you hear Ed Harris say the following to Michael Biehn?
You're down there, and we're up here. You walked into the wrong goddamn room, Commander.
All right. And currently auditioning for a future part. Andrew Guy, and I would say you booked
Hear
it.
her say Michael Bay.
Straight the callback.
Greatest honor of my life serving with you, Mark Ellis.
5, 4,
Yeah.
3, 2. What do you have for breakfast? I smell
It's Michael
some
Bay.
BS.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go to the kid.
Okay.
The Rock.
Yeah.
That is
The Rock.
accurate. How about the Beast?
I also chose The Rock.
Yes.
Welcome. Prime time.
It's a great honor playing with you, Mark Ellis. The Rock.
And Con.
How did an Ed Harris question slip through? The
You
Rock.
gotta wonder. No idea. I mean, it's not like one of the writers is currently wearing an Ed Harris shirt at this
Oh my
very
God.
moment.
But they're dead now. So.
Your
They are.
final movie question
Canonically
category
Ed Harris.
is the world of horror films.
Oh, boy.
It's usually all the way in the back of Blockbuster.
Shit.
Here's the question. Frank Henenlotter directed this 1982 cult favorite horror film, the first in a trilogy, about a deformed conjoined twin brother named Belial and his brother Dwayne. What did I just read out loud? I'm sorry, guy who works at Blockbuster.
What?
I looked at Hollywood Video, Mark.
Wow. My rival. There are
Why did
rivals.
Soda Quinn turn?
I
Yeah, I think it was a Hollywood Video.
I had no idea.
Yeah. In news that's only interesting to me.
Podcaster guy?
Yes.
Casting pod.
No fucking idea.
2, 1. Pens down, and we're going to start with Primetime.
Is that a basket case?
Is accurate.
Shut
Let's
the
go
fuck
to the king.
Puppet Master.
Had
Oh.
Puppet Master. And so we go to
I said
Shazam.
nice.
Is accurate.
Didn't have it.
And didn't have it. And so I believe that is one perfect round. And that
Guessed
perfect
it
round
out of
belongs
nowhere,
to
son.
our mystery
Basket
guest
case.
who
Wow.
emerged through the curtain. Straight out of Hawaii, it is Paul Oyama.
Jesus.
King Arthur Tokyo Drift. When I have a
All right,
bonus
7
question.
points.
Just ask you
Yikes.
Oyama, so you don't have to write this one down. Andrew Guy will proctor it. You simply verbally give us a correct or incorrect response. We really don't care.
All right, your question in the category of bonus. What 1980s fantasy film, directed by Russell McCullough,
Oh,
features
Highlander, right?
songs in the film A Kind of Magic
Yeah, Highlander.
and Who Wants to Live Forever?
Highlander.
11 points in
Yeah.
round one for prime time.
Wow.
That is the exact ringer you want on your squad,
job,
Ellis.
bud.
20 to 18.
Oh, yeah, I can't
King
take
Arthur
points.
Tokyo
Yeah,
Drift
yeah.
is leading Shazam, the legends that they are. And so now we move to round number 2, where it's the wheel round, 5 questions per team. 2 points per question, unless you need multiple choice.
Fucking
Keep it in
guess and
mind,
half.
stealing is available. In round number 2, we go
Always
to
gotta trust the guts.
the
You just
Tokyo
never know what
Drifters
they're
of
telling.
King Arthur's land. Would you like to spin that wheel first or defer to your opponent?
Yeah, we'll go with apple bottom jeans boots with defer.
They are going to defer. And so Shazam, who brought so much joy to the set for so long, and now carnage and blood.
Here we
Watch
go.
the bodies, please.
Yes. I believe they just kicked
Oh, what a
the
nice
dead
clean
corpse.
wheel.
All right.
Once more into the breach.
So there it is. There's the spin.
Final spin here.
What
Round
is
and round it
doing?
goes.
Is he calibrating the wheel? What is he
And
doing?
that is going to land on Charlize
Ooh,
Theron.
Charlize Theron.
They're on.
What are you worried about?
I believe they're also disseminating how to pronounce that young lady's last
I'm
name.
hearing a lot of interference.
Wonderful performer.
Oh, absolutely. I love Dan Thomas.
I would yell right now. 15 seconds.
Sure, let's spin again.
Yeah, spin again.
Spin it as many times as you can.
Oh, I can?
That's, well,
Technically, that
I'm
might have
saying
been.
you should spin as many times as you can, which is two.
Okay.
The Wachowskis.
Wachowskis.
Ooh,
Yeah.
interesting. All right.
The Wachowskis is
Wow, I
the
didn't know
category
Wachowskis.
here.
I didn't know there was a category. This is
All
going to
right,
be
your
rough.
First question in the
Ladies
category
and
of the Wachowskis. How many feature films are there in the Matrix saga?
4. It was 4.
4.
That is correct.
I was
For
gonna say,
2
you can't count the
points,
Animatrix.
and we have a tie ball
That
game
wasn't a
here.
feature.
It didn't go to theaters.
Question number 2. What 1990s action thriller featuring Sylvester Stallone was written by the Wachowskis and Brian Helgeland?
The Assassin.
Assassins.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
Yeah,
Is it?
2 points.
I like it. I enjoyed it. That was 10. 2 more
Uh,
points.
Yeah. I think I'm at
Number
11.
3. Which film, co-written by the Wachowskis, begins on the Chatham Islands in 1849? Chatham.
I'd have to ask for a fucking. I don't know. I have to ask for a multiple choice. Chatham Islands.
Okay.
Oof.
Cloud Atlas.
They went for it and they hit.
Nice.
2
Good
points.
job. I forgot about
Wait,
that.
Shazam.
Yeah.
Now with the 4-point lead, 2 questions remaining, gentlemen. 2 repeats as well. Lana and Lily Wachowski directed Cloud Atlas alongside what other filmmaker who is the film's third credited director? I think Bibbs might know it already.
That's right. It's Tom Tickford.
It is!
Yep.
Wow,
Tom
big hit
Tickford.
there.
Good job.
3 words read in the question.
Don't know those at all, man. I'm stuck at 11.
And your final question in the category of Wachowski's here to take a nice 8-point lead. In the Wachowskis directed Speed Racer, Matthew Fox portrays a mysterious masked racer.
This film, so I don't know.
What?
Racer X.
Oh, that's
Oh, that's right.
X in a
It's the
movie.
film.
That is a sweet X in a movie, and that is a
All right.
sweet X
Jesus
as in
Christ.
10 points
Stuck at 11.
for Shazam in round
Let's see
number
what
2,
happens.
28-20. And so King Arthur, Tokyo Drift style, now approaches the wheel with a hill to scale.
Do you think they drift on the way up there? Do you think they drift on the way up there?
Winston maybe drift. There it goes.
Oh, there it is.
Not really a drift,
There it is.
but-
Yeah,
Nice
Winston got
little
it. Winston
wedding
got it.
reception dance floor entry.
This clean
So
wheel
here
throws
comes
me off.
Khan. Ooh, spinning that wheel.
Last day, it's like trying to break the back.
Ooh.
That is.
It looks like right in the middle.
The Regina's?
Wasn't the rule is to the right?
To the right?
It's
To the
I
right,
think
if
it's
it's
in the
straight
middle.
up and down.
Sushi.
The
Yeah,
ticker
it's the actual pointer. So
That's
we're
the
gonna.
pointer. Remember the ticker?
The pointer looks
Yeah, it's two
right in the
shit.
middle.
The pointer's right in the middle. So we go to the right.
Yep,
we go to
And
Tucci.
that will be Stanley Tucci.
In 9 seasons,
Very handsome.
we have never got a competent wheel.
Especially when he's making
We've
drinks
always
and
had to
the
make
whole thing.
You've seen it.
Yeah,
little-
he posted a video.
They're
little
gonna
fucking
respin.
allowances.
They're
For
gonna
that. I don't know
respin. Bailing me out
why
of
we've
this
never
story.
been. It's one of the. It's like the
Well, see, so
drummer
what
for
happened?
Spinal Tap. The wheel is always the thing that blows
Don't
up.
be
all right.
All right.
I mean,
We're gonna respin that.
You're going to respin from the Wachowskis, and one more chance for the Tooch to get back in the good graces of the showdown. Past the Tooch, and it is
Ooh, coming of age. Interesting.
Aren't we all
All right,
today?
coming of age.
All right, and here we go with coming of age films for King Arthur Tokyo Drift.
see what happens
a
here.
team that is sporting quite a sensational record with a new member today, Primetime, who already has a perfect round number 1. So we go to the coming of age films. You can confer with your teammate for each and every question here. You also have the luxury of multiple choice should you need it. Question 1 of 5.
Okay.
What Oscar-winning actress had an early role as a store employee named Gina?
Renee Zellweger.
Empire Records.
She's the only Oscar winner in the fucking cast, right? Am I wrong on this? Liv Tyler's in the cast.
5.
let's go Renee Zellweger.
You go correct. That is 2 points, and they are on the board here in round number 2.
Con, you had a debate on
Category
this?
is coming of age. Your next question.
Let's hit the buzzer.
Kayla Day ends all her motivational YouTube videos by saying, what
Oh.
word in the film 8th Grade?
Shout out to my former manager. It's Gucci.
I didn't want to ask the question.
Yes,
but I
good
just
job.
Skipped it.
Good.
But there it is.
That's how things go in the Schmoedown. Coming of age, as Gucci did approximately 35 years ago. Here is your question 3. 2 more points. What 2004 comedy takes place at a Christian high school?
Saved.
It stars Gina Malone, Mandy Moore, and Macaulay Culkin.
Saved.
That's fun.
You'd hang with that cat.
Oh, this film was saved.
Yes, it is. Saved is correct. And they are currently 2 points off the pace set by Shazam here in round number 2. Their penultimate question could see them tied with the lead of the former champs. Here it is. Who plays Janice Ian, the goth girl who befriends Katie in Mean Girls?
Shit.
Lizzie Kaplan.
They are feeling it
Oh,
today,
yep.
and King Arthur Tokyo Drift looking to match Shazam's perfect round number 2 with one
Lizzie Kaplan. Right,
final
there it is.
question.
Oh, my God. I am
And
so
here it is for the lead
rusty.
going into round 3.
All right.
1980s Fame depicts a performing arts high school
New York.
located
Jesus
in
Christ.
what United States city?
New York City.
New York City.
Home of great point guards and musicals. That is correct. 2 more points.
And
Perfect
Brooklyn.
rounds all around. 30
I think they were
to
debating whether to say
28.
Brooklyn
Shazam
or
once again
Bronx or
finds
whatever,
himself
so.
trailing the current belt holders.
I mean,
Andrew.
teams has always been my favorite division, and after
Oof,
watching
I
this
am,
bout go
not
through
doing
two rounds,
well.
this is
I
going to
gotta give
be
myself
a
2 points
perfect
for that.
match to cap.
So I'm at
Spectacular
17
and the
right
team's
now.
division. But now we get to the betting round, Ellis.
That's right. And it is one more spin at the wheel for King Arthur. They're going to give that a tug around the wheel. And once they settle on a category, that's where we're going to get your betting round question. That question is as to the field. And each team will place a series of points as a wager. If they get it right, they gain that many points. If they miss it, they lose that many points. At your ready, sir.
Trading it up now, I see.
Here it is. Aoyama. Maybe a little homage to the Beast spinning form there. And that is
Wachowski's again?
And that's where the question is going to come
I mean,
from.
the wheel needs to be I mean, what's
King
ridiculous?
Arthur wants to keep it. Are they going to keep the category?
Nah, man, spin that shit again.
So beneficial.
That is a
to
tough
Shazam?
fucking category. It's going to go bone deep now that you've gotten to the
drift
Cloud
away
Atlas
from it?
questions.
Nice.
Spin again,
Sick.
son.
You should say it again. And I'll go.
Spin again.
Yeah, we'll keep it.
Oh,
Keep
shit.
Wachowski.
All right.
All right, so now what we need is each
Love
team
Oyama's
to write
confidence,
down
man.
their bet, as it were.
Swagger
You
and
can
son
bet up
of a
to
bitch.
3
I
points.
appreciate it.
You don't have to wager any points. But keep in mind, however many points you bet is how many points you will
Thanks
win
to the
or lose
76
based
years
on
still hanging out with me. Appreciate it,
So
madly.
we
After
have
this,
the
we'll
bet
do
in
the
from
singles match.
Shazam. Just waiting. There it is for King Arthur Tokyo Drift.
We'll go through
And
this
Andrew
quickly.
Guy will be proctoring one more Wachowski's question.
Okay.
Here it is.
All right. For as many points as you bet to gain or lose in the category of the Wachowskis.
Oh, I'm gonna
which
bet
Law
one.
and Order franchise actor plays Johnny, the son of mafia boss Gino Marzone, in the film Bound?
Ooh, what Law and
I'm
Order
learning a lot about
franchise
Wachowskis
actor
and other
plays
films
Johnny.
At a hand.
Son
Yeah,
of
I mean, really,
Mafia,
it's just
Gino
about the
Marzone.
Matrix movies for me with them, unfortunately.
Yeah, they're. I really like the first one.
Yeah. I didn't hate
Jeremy
the second one for a little
Sisto?
bit, but
I
that's
don't
just
know.
nice.
Okay, I'm going to put Jeremy
Yeah,
Sisto
yeah. Just like
because this is the only guy I can think of.
Buy the video game at home.
It's not Benjamin Bratt, or it's not.
2, 1. Pens down, and first we're going to ask Shazam, how many points did you wager?
3.
And King Arthur Tokyo Drift.
Also 3.
All right, and let's go to Shazam for your attempted answer.
Christopher Maloney.
How about King Arthur
We also
TD?
have-
Good job.
They also
Good
had Christopher
job.
Maloney. The guy's
See,
over
I got
60,
caught in
and if
Law
you
and
look-
Order,
I mean,
not-
look, I'm just saying he's a well-built man. That's
The
all I'm
actual
going to say.
show
He
is
doesn't
the Law and
skip
Order
leg
entire
day.
franchise.
Well-built man. He doesn't skip
That's
glute
on me.
day.
No,
And now we move
So I
on
lose,
to
1
the
point.
butt of a championship match,
So I'm
which
down to
is the
16.
speed round. The speed round, 5 questions
All right,
emerge
speed
at
round. Here we go.
lightning
I don't know how to
quick pace,
score
courtesy
this.
of my partner in crime, Andrew Guy. Each question is worth a point to the first
I guess
person
I'll just
to
say it
buzz
if I
in.
know.
Should they buzz in and get that correct answer within 2 seconds, they're awarded the point. Should they buzz in but miss the answer or not get the correct answer within 2 seconds, their team loses
Okay.
a point. So
Here we go.
press wisely.
All right.
The teams are set, and more importantly for the speed round, the buzzers are set. And so here we go with the first of 5 questions. Andrew Guy, at your ready.
All right. Question number 1. Of the following actresses, who did not appear in 2018's Halloween? Virginia Gardner,
Judy Greer.
Greer, Andy Matichak,
Oh, no, Daniel Harris. Daniel Harris. Fuck.
Danielle
God
Harris.
damn it. I missed
That is William.
Danielle Harris.
Yep.
That is correct.
Yep. I get no point for that because I said
On the
Judy
board, they
Greer.
come to lead the
I got confused with the sequel.
Number 2. What sci-fi film features the following characters? Joe, Lieutenant Joshi.
That is Khan.
Blade Runner 2049.
Good job.
That is correct.
Good job.
Whoa.
Good job.
That's
Back to a
actually both
2-point
squads.
advantage.
Question number 3. Which actor appeared in the following films? Enemy of the State, Heartbreakers, Stealing Harvard, and
Ooh.
That is Brendan.
Jason Lee.
that is correct.
Nice
Woo!
job, Brendan.
Steal there.
This COVID brain is
And
real.
on the question.
Fog.
What year saw the release of the following films?
Oh.
Murder by Death, Feudor World, Grizzly.
1970.
That is Oyama.
1978.
That is incorrect.
Ooh.
We're looking for 1976. That
Oh,
is
76.
And so right now it is tied at 33. Larry Bird's number adorns both teams' score.
I'm down to
and
15.
one
I'm not
question
even in the
remains
fucking
speed
final
round.
here.
This is big. Who gets to go first in the final round? What film franchise features performances from the following actors? Oscar Isaac, Riz Ahmed.
That is Brendan.
The Bourne franchise.
Shazam is
Oh!
number 5.
How did did the kid know that we were
That's
talking about the
incredible
Bourne
for a kid.
franchise and not Star Wars? Because you also have Riz Ahmed
Yes!
in Star Wars. I thought that could have tripped some. I thought that the third question, somebody would have buzzed Gene Hackman.
Yes, that's exactly what I was
not
thinking.
Jason Lee, but they really held their water when they needed to, and they struck
This is a
like
great
vipers
match.
going after
These two guys.
mice,
Or these
whatever.
four
vipers.
guys.
Yeah,
What-
or elephants that are going after mice, that are going after vipers.
Dedication.
A lot of
what
Animal
training
Kingdom
they've
carnage
been
here in the
all this
studio,
stuff's
but
so
here's
deep.
where we stand. Shazam,
Incredible.
improbably
Wow.
trailing entering the speed round, now has a 1-point advantage. It is 34
Here we go.
to 33. Did you expect anything less from
I'm going
a
to take all the
team
points if I get
championship
these. Maybe
match?
this will
The
get me up
last
to
of its
somewhere
kind here at
near
the
30 if
Movie
I get all these
Trivia Schmoedown. Round number 5 is the round that will determine the batch and where those belts and championships go in perpetuity.
John, you're playing great, my man. You
Three
and
teams.
Oyama, great chemistry.
Are now eliminated because it's just 2 teams with 3 questions each. You have 2 points, 3 points, and 5 points. Keep in mind it is a team's match. So once we give you the category for the 2-pointer,
Well, as I said, if you want to send in Streamlabs and Super Chats as we go along, please feel free. Feel free to send in
only
some
confer
support.
with your teammate.
Last
for the
time I'm wearing this hat, so you've
5-point
got questions, thoughts, or
question.
comments you want to
And
ask
so first
me.
we go to Shazam,
let me know.
who with that incredible correct answer now has the luxury of giving us their 3 lucky numbers first. From 1 to 20, what feels fortunate?
1, 9, and 4.
Good numbers, good numbers.
Always those ones.
Some classic ones. And now we go to King Arthur Part 3.
Right. We'll go 19.
19.
7 and 15.
7 and 15.
All right, here we
And
go.
So it is going to be King Arthur holding the belts, but fielding questions first here from Andrew Guy in round number 5. Andrew, they selected number 19 for their first question, and that corresponds to what, or in this case, whom?
Also a tribute to your old manager, Sly and Arnie, for
Nice.
your 2-point question. Now we just have to decide whether it's going to be the king himself or Primetime who would like to field this 2-pointer.
King Khan is going to be it.
Okay?
Let's
The
go,
king. For 2 points, and to send it over to your opponents, the category of Sly and Arnie. In what film in the Terminator franchise, featuring Linda Hamilton, is Arnold's T.
Terminator Dark Fate.
known simply by the name of Carl?
Terminator Dark Fate.
That is correct.
I'll take those 2 points.
All right, and they did not waste a lot of time getting that lead back that Shazam had wrestled from them.
Let's go, let's go.
Now we go to Shazam for your 2-pointer. As is tradition with that team, they selected category 1 for their 2-point question, which could give them the lead once again. And these two fellows just love showing up on the show. Paul Newman and Robert Redford is your category. So who amongst the Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid?
Nice,
would
the
like
kid
to
wants to
get
talk.
it?
I'll take it.
All right.
Got to take the kid question.
Okay.
And now I really hope the answer to the question is not Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Yeah, Mark.
Here's your question. For 2 points to regain the lead. Paul Newman plays the character of John Rooney opposite Tom Hanks.
Oh,
in the 2000s
Road to Perdition.
period gangster film, also featuring Daniel Craig.
Road to Perdition.
It's a long one, and it is correct. 2 points.
I'm at 19.
Shazam gets the lead back. It is topsy-turvy back and forth seesawing action here as we head back to King Arthur for their 3-pointer. Andrew, they chose category 7.
Yep. That's going to take us to the category of fantasy / sci-fi for your 3-point question, which will be fielded here by Primetime himself.
All right.
Coming in from Hawaii for the lead. Michael Clark Duncan plays Colonel Attar, a military officer and former associate of Tim Roth's General Thade in what 2000s
Planet of the
sci-fi
Apes,
film
right?
from director Tim Burton.
Planet of the
Planet
Apes.
of the Apes.
Yeah.
Saw it in theaters.
I'll
It
take
was
that.
great. Yeah.
Take those 3 points.
3 points.
Remember the
King
end
Arthur.
when Lincoln's like a. Anyway, we'll talk about it later.
He's a monkey.
Spoilers. Let's go back to Shazam for their 3-pointer now. They trail by 2, and they have a chance to make up all that ground and more with category 9. It's going to be fielded by William the Beast Bibiani. He knows a little something about this category because it is comedy.
No one?
Wow. Last day. Way to show up, guys.
It's very serious in round 5. Right. We only giggle in round 1. There's no fun to be had in round 5. Unless, of course, you get this right.
Oh, yeah.
You get the lead. So, William Bibiani, here's your question.
Here we go.
And the lead for Shazam. In the category of comedy, Jane Curtin co-stars with Dan Aykroyd
Jesus,
as
the
Fran,
Coneheads.
the wife of Aykroyd's Beldar. In what film based on an SNL sketch.
Her name is pronounced Primat, and it's Coneheads.
Coneheads, yeah.
That is correct.
I would have done that.
25 for me right now.
They come from France.
Can I get to
and
35?
It all comes down to this now.
Won't be enough
King
to beat
Arthur
them,
Tokyo
obviously,
Drift. They're holding the belts. Paul Oyama more than carrying his weight here, being added to the team somewhat last minute. But now their backs are against the wall for their 5-pointer. The good news here, Andrew, is that they can confer amongst themselves to arrive at this answer, which could force the hand of Shazam. They get it right, Shazam has to hit their 5-pointer. If they miss it, Shazam is once again your final team's champions in the movie trivia. Now, what number did they select?
Well, for their 5-pointer, they selected number 15, which is going to take you over to the wonderful world of Disney. For your 5-point question, you can, of course, confer with one another. You have 2 repeats remaining.
Okay.
Thanks, Winston.
For 5 points, in the category of Disney, what 2007 live-action Disney film, which was based on a book, features performances from Zooey Deschanel, Anna Sophia Robb, and Robert Patrick?
I don't know. Enchanted?
Let's use a repeat.
Those are early. Okay. For 5 points in the category of Disney, what
live
2007 live-action Disney film, which was based on a book, features performances from Zooey Deschanel, Anna Sophia Robb, and Robert Patrick?
Repeat Khan back to Oyama. His 5-pointer, Richard Terabithia.
It might make you cry, but they're going to be celebrating 5 big points.
I forgot about Bridget Terabithia.
Nice. There it is. We have to do that. And their on-court basketball prowess is now translated to the field of competition here in the movie Trivia Schmoedown. Bloody though it may be, courtesy of Shazam's intro, it is now up to that legendary team who's been etched into Schmoedown fable so many times in this wonderful tapestry of 9 seasons we've had. And now it all comes down to this, a 5-point question for the win and the championship of the team's division. Shazam selected category 4. And that corresponds to another combo of gentlemen with talents, Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino.
Oof. Okay.
They have 2 repeats left, and so here is your 5-point question. For the win, Lady Gaga appears as a sympathetic waitress named Bertha.
Oh,
Robert Rodriguez film.
Sin City, A Dame to Kill For.
Alexa Vega and Jessica Alba.
It's easy.
Bibbs wants
Right?
that win to have the most wins in Schmoedown history as well.
Over your former team.
Let's repeat.
Can we get a repeat?
Let's get one
You
repeat.
certainly can. You have 1 repeat.
What's with all the quick
5
repeats?
points
Wait till they
and
count down
the
to 1.
championship.
Is this your first time playing the
Lady
games,
Gaga
guys?
appears as a sympathetic waitress named Bertha in what Robert Rodriguez film that also features Alexa Vega and Jessica Alba.
Sin City, Dame to Kill For. Don't go with one of the fucking.
All right.
Machete Kill.
Oh no!
And your winner,
Oh.
and still Movie Trivia Schmoedown champion,
Sorry.
Tokyo Drift.
It was Sin City, A Dame to Kill For.
Neither of them actually knew the answer.
They were banding about between 2 different possible answers, neither of which was the correct Sin City, A Dame to Kill For. And with that, King Arthur,
myself 5
Tokyo
points.
Drift, gets the win, and they are the final champions here in the Movie Trivia Schmoedown Teams division. You couldn't ask for more drama. You couldn't ask
Good
for more
job, Con.
action. And yes, a
Congratulations,
lot
bud. I
of
don't know if
horror
you're
there at
still
the beginning,
watching,
but
but
it turns
shout
out
out
to
to
be
you,
King
brother, man. Nice
Arthur
job.
keeping the championship
good
belt
job.
for themselves. A wonderful match played by both parties.
Yeah, and I know this is a celebratory day. We are having a lot of fun here, but when you look at the match that we just saw at hand, it's exactly the bread and butter that got the Schmoedown to where it is today. 9 seasons later on Shazam, arguably the greatest team of all time. They do fall today to King Arthur Tokyo Drift. Okay, nice, sweet. But
yeah,
this is exactly what
couldn't
you
pull
wanted to see.
Terabithia
Perfect
though,
round in
Con.
round
I mean,
number
that's
one.
a
Round 2 was
fuck,
absolutely
man. I only
dominant.
seen that
Even in
movie
round
once.
number 3, that great
But of
back
course,
and
like I
forth
said, I
in
haven't
the
studied
speed
it
round
all
was
before we played
exceptional.
it.
And then, of course, they go to the
Got that little
5-pointer,
brain
as you
fog
want
at
to see
occasional
in any
moments.
championship match.
That's right, and
Well,
I'm
good
just
job,
curious
Con.
about
Great
this
to- I mean,
post-match interview.
there
We're
were some
about to
tough first
turn
rounders
it
for
over
you
to James
guys, so
Sturger here. Do we
you
get
and
a little
Oyama
bit more
certainly
of
came
those
to play,
characters, or
brother,
is
man.
the veil
Great
off,
back and
and are
forth.
we just talking to Paul Oyama
Yes,
and
guy,
Khan
yeah,
and
Gaga
Winston
is, but
Marshall,
she's
their
not a waitress,
manager?
I don't think, in
Jen
Machete
Sturger,
Kills.
what do you have in store for us?
It is a completely unprecedented
Oh, Jen.
victory today. And I mean, listen, I feel like Paul.
All right, I got to jump because, I mean,
This
it's
has been
already
such a journey for you,
9:30.
for you
So
to
let's
come
jump
in
to the singles
and
match.
be by this man's side
No
today
offense
when
to
his
the
teammate could not
post
show
credits
up
or
and
anything like that, or
play as his
post
teammate,
match interviews. Let's
and
jump
to
to
walk
the
away the
singles
last
match
day with
and
a belt on
let's
your
get into.
shoulder,
Oh, there's the
a team belt on your
Marisol
shoulder.
deleted scenes.
How does this make you feel?
IG.
I
All
just
right, so
wanna
I'm
say something real
jumping
quick. I
to
haven't
the singles
told anyone
match or the
this,
goat
but this has
match.
been a long career for me, and I'm retiring from the Schmoedown
And-
effective immediately.
Singles match now.
Undisputed, and the winner by knockout.
Diego Va.
Oh, you bastards playing basketball.
Touch me.
Yeah. That's right, babe. That's right. They never play anyone else's fuck ups, do they? They always play mine. I wonder why.
The new Movie Trivia Schmoedown champion of the world. Oyama is the youngest Movie Trivia Schmoedown champ. And there he is again. Sam Levine has won the title.
There's all standing at that. God damn it, that should be mine.
It means the world to me to be asked to participate in the final spectacular, the last Schmoedown matches we're ever going to tape, and it has been such an important thing to me in my life the last many years, not just because of the fact that I'm a competitive guy and I like movie trivia, but the relationships that I've made, and so many of those relationships are here today. My wife, Rachel Cushing Levine. Hello. I got a wife out of this thing, so we're both here today. We both have matches today. She called a match in Intergeekdom. It means so much to me to be here today, but it means more that so many of the relationships that I've made over the last years in Schmoedown are also here today as well.
I was speaking with Christian earlier, and he was saying, you know, do you know how many spectaculars you've been in? And it's I didn't even think about it. And to be part of this lineup, when you look at who's playing today, I mean, if we put everybody in the spectacular who deserved to have one last match, it would be a 4-day event. So to be part of this group, at some point I wasn't even really sure if I was going to get to play again. And so to get to not only play again, but to play in this title match in the singles division against Sam is a gift that I was not expecting. But it's a very meaningful one to be part of the last Schmoedown match.
Dan Merle and I had an agreement. We would do zero preparing for this match, which was fine by me. I don't know. Maybe he studied. I certainly didn't.
I'm zero prepared as well.
But I think we both wanted this last match to be more like the Schmoedown was in the early days.
Oh, who did that? Who
These
suggested that
very specific
last year? That was me.
When there was really no way to actually study for the Schmoedown.
There
It was
wasn't.
just
Yeah.
watch a lot
Just
of
if
movies.
you knew a lot
Do
of
you
movies.
retain information from watching those movies?
True.
Then this will be fun for you. And it was fun and remains fun, but it got so much more competitive and serious, and you had to devote so much against the ones who didn't have those conversations.
Is why Dan Merle is such a great competitor, because you knew how good he was even from the key. He's
Let's
at
get to the
21 wins, 8 defeats, and 9 knockouts.
All right.
He is a former free-for-all
What's
winner,
up, Eddie?
a former teams champion, 2-time player of the year, and the former 5-time Movie Trivia Schmoedown champion of the world,
Con is the only
Dangerous Dan Muro!
Calibrate the audio.
Wait a minute.
Why is Kate
Mulligan? Kate Mulligan, the manager, and
Oh, is he? Oh,
Dangerous
she
Dan,
is,
who
man.
had a
Oh,
nice
okay.
heel run, if you will. But this is the classic.
wearing
Look at
a
a
Screen
Screen
Junkie
Junkie
shirt.
shirt and everything.
This is
old
old
school
school
Dan.
indeed. Head to toe for
Respect.
Dangerous Dan Merle, returning to a spot that must feel like a second home for him at the Question
podium. Yeah, he's the challenger. He's been a challenger before, and he's come up with the championship 5 times when he's
All
done
right.
it. So we have the challenger, and now we await the champion. And
I have the belt sitting right here.
Opponent.
So.
With a record
Sammy boy.
of 14 wins, 4 defeats, and 5 knockouts. He is a free-for-all winner. The 2017 Ultimate Schmoedown Single and Teams Tournament winner. A former 2-time Player of the Year. And the reigning, defending, undisputed Movie Trivia Schmoedown Champion of the World, the inglorious one, Sam Levine!
There he is, and a lusty round of applause for Levine as well.
Look at him going over, and he's going, and he's shaking the hand of Mulligan, shaking the hand of Dan Murrell. 2 legends here, and there is that championship. The funny thing is that when Sam Levine was the commissioner when that belt was brought in, and the first person he handed that belt to, Dangerous Dan Murrell.
Yeah.
Oh, man, the history with that belt between these 2 competitors. They've worn so many hats, but now they are back at their rightful place, answering questions proctored by Christian Harloff and myself.
Okay, here we go.
So we're going to get ready here with the rules.
Enough with the jibber jabber. Let's go.
110 questions from all different corners of the Movie Trivia Schmoedown Galaxy. Each question worth a point. There is no penalty for missing a question. There is no stealing in round number 1. You each have 3 repeats. You may use a repeat if you need us to repeat the question, or just buy yourself another 15 seconds to get that correct answer. You also each have 1 challenge to be issued by your manager, or really just whoever wants to issue it today can issue that challenge. And with that, we go to Dangerous Dan Murrell, a rare perch for you in the challenger side of the podium, but there you are. Are you ready to compete in your last Schmoedown?
To quote one of our most prominent philosophers in the 21st century, one last ride.
Thank you.
All right. It's all about family here. Sam Levine, the inglorious one. The belt's right there. You're over there. You're looking at it like you want it one more time. You ready to get this thing going?
I have no idea who wins
I've been
this.
trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty, and you haven't.
I don't know what to tell you. It's.
We'll talk later. Yeah, let's play.
Bought it years ago.
Then let's get ready to Schmoedown! All right, gentlemen, question number 1. We're going to start in the 1980s. What 1987 teen vampire film featuring Corey Haim and Alex Winter became known for the song Cry Little Sister by Gerard McMahon?
Right,
Otherwise
The
known as
Lost Boys.
It is.
I'm just going to answer
I
these.
didn't buy the car.
Because I'm not going to.
I have options.
Am I wrong
is what
on
I'm
that?
saying. So I may go with Sam.
And
I
5.
feel like I'm right.
4,
What are you trying to sell me?
3, 2, 1. Sam?
Lost Boys.
Yes.
And Dan.
The Lost Boys.
Yes. All right.
I guess we're not counting
Question
articles.
2.
All right, we veer into the wacky world of. Oh, now I'm going to get emotional. Comedy.
You'll be all right.
Yeah. Just laugh that hard on December 3rd. Your question for a point. After Police Academy was released in 1984, what was the first year
Jesus.
that did not have an installment in the series release? And we have a contender for my new favorite question of all time.
Oh,
God, I didn't know questions
Fuck
could
me.
be
I'm going to
this
put
good.
1989.
Sure you did.
I have no
I
idea.
really didn't. 5, 4. I'm glad I wrote it by myself. 3, 2, 1. Pens down. Thank you, PJ. And we go to Sam Levine.
No,
first.
it's Dan Murrell. Dan Murrell. We did Sam right. We did Sam right. We started with Sam. Dan
True.
Dan
Start
Murrell.
with
You
Sam.
started with me last time.
I know. Dan.
Welcome to the Schmoedown.
Thank you both personally for this question. 1988.
That's incorrect. Sam?
1990.
Yes, sir.
Wow,
90.
90.
Goes up by one.
Shit, it was off by a year.
All right.
Guys, there was a gap between City Under Siege and Mission to Moscow.
All right. Well, here's the
Very
next one.
important film.
They had to take a year off for those.
All right. We're going with famous actress. Excuse me. Famous actors and actresses for number 3. Which sitcom actor appeared in the following films? Wagons East, Highlander 2, The Quickening,
Wild Hogs, and The Rock.
What's
Boy, that's a resume of hits and misses.
Just depends on what you think the
Yeah,
misses
really.
Shit.
I just saw PJ laughing his butt off while he was writing that question.
Good question. What
Big
actor
5.
loves working?
4, 3.
JT.
2.
Okay.
Which sitcom actor appeared in the following films? Wagons East, Highlander 2: The Quickening, Wild Hogs, and The Rock.
I'm going to say Tim Allen, because I imagine Wild Hogs is 2 words and not 1 word. And I think that was the film he was. I don't remember him in The Rock.
It's a good.
It's either that or Matthew Perry. I don't know.
3.
Shit. I
2.
don't know.
1. Pens down, please. And we start with Sam Levine.
John C. McGinley?
Yes, but you should have wrote Joe. All right.
Oh,
so Dan
my
didn't
God.
have it.
Wow.
So Sam Levine had it.
That's a
Sam
first
Levine had it.
round
by
question.
Sam Levine. I think it's safe to say those were leaps of faith, and it gives him a 3-1 lead. Early in the ball game, we head over to animated movies,
I believe he
everybody's
didn't
favorite
study.
category. What 2020 animated film? Excuse me. What 2020s? We're already. What year is it? What 2020s animated film follows Katie, an aspiring filmmaker who goes on a road trip with her family and features the vocal talents of Abby Jacobson, Doug the Pug, and Olivia Colman?
Oh, Jesus, I
You
don't
can
know
spell.
either.
Did I tell you that?
Think.
I mean, I look spelled. I
Think.
You don't feel good?
I just like. I don't know what year it is. The last year I remember.
I'm bad on
existing is
animation,
2018.
so
You still
you
old,
guys
but you
know
still
this.
look good.
Oh,
And
thank
5,
I put Mitchell's
Aging
versus
into
the
myself.
Machines. Is that
3,
wrong? I don't know.
2,
Is that wrong or right?
1. Pens down, and we go with Dan Merle.
I described John C. McGinley so many ways. Sitcom actor, what you want to. Sorry. The Mitchells versus the
Yes.
Yes, and Sam.
I think this is the same thing. It says Jane Fonda.
Nice reference.
I can
Good
see
reference.
Mitchell's.
All
I can
right.
see Mitchell's.
I
in
can
there.
see it, but we can't give it to you.
You know
It's
what?
close.
Of course.
All
The
right, so
diminutive
now
one.
next match.
always
We'll make it up
Dan
to
gets
John.
within 1 there, and
You can't
nobody's
resist,
perfect
can
in this round. So it's 3-2, and the champion with the lead. With
I'd
1.
come back at him, but I'd
Next
be punching
question:
down literally
sequels
and
and
figuratively.
prequels for question 5. 1964's A Shot in the Dark is the second film in what famous comedy franchise
Pink
following
Panther.
the misadventures of a bumbling inspector
Panther.
originally played by Peter Sellers?
Wow, they really think people
Right,
don't know
what
fucking
famous
Peter
metal
Sellers.
artist
That's
has a
incredible.
song called Shot?
You have to spell it out so obviously.
Looking for Ozzy.
Close.
Ozzy.
5.
Hey, you took a shot.
This is
4.
the
Nice.
thing.
Did he
The
do the
Pink
monsters? 3, 2.
You haven't even seen
3
the
out of
movie.
5.
It's terrible.
Give it a
And
break.
Pens down. Pens down. Hands up. Well, I don't know. I'm yelling at you guys. I'm sorry. Pens down. And we start with Sam Levine.
Pink Panther.
Yes, and Dan.
Sells great home insulation. The Pink Panther.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Here we go.
Your next question is in the category of mixed bag. Let's reach our hand in there and see what we pull out. Who directed the film The Death of Superman Lives?
Oh,
What Happened? A documentary chronicling an attempt by Tim Burton
What
to
a
bring
great
Superman back to the
question
silver
to throw
screen in the
last match
1990s.
ever. That's awesome. Of course, Judge Schnapp. Of course.
And you just hope they're writing down the
Oh,
correct answer.
that's
don't
awesome.
you?
Yeah.
You just want it so bad.
5. By the look on their faces, they did. 4, 3, 2, 1. Dan Merle.
Great John Schnapp.
That is his full name.
John Schnapp, King of the 20s!
The mightiest oak in the nerd forest, Mr. John Schnapp.
All right.
What if I had a brain fart?
This is the most
Thank
relaxed
God.
Dan Merle
I almost
ever,
misspelled
ever
Sweaties
seen.
and it was going to read King of the Sweeties. I was like, also true.
He was a
Technically
sweetie.
true.
He was a sweet man.
Sweetie. He was.
And if you missed it, I think the hardest laugh would be coming from.
All right, here we go. In the category of sports, in which football film will you hear the line, "Water is for cowards. Water makes you weak. Water is for washing blood off that uniform, and you don't get no blood on my uniform."
Oh, remember the Titans, right? Oh my God.
Wow, that's a tough way to live.
It's kind of.
I quite enjoy hydrating.
It's intense.
I think that's
Tom
what he
Brady has
says
like
to.
200 ounces a day.
Oh, that's true. 5,
I don't know if it's Will Patton or
4,
is that Denzel.
3, 2, 1, and we start with Sam Levine.
It's Remember the Titans, and these are 2 little middle fingers.
Yeah.
For both of those guys
What's
sitting
wrong,
right
Jane
there.
Fonda? You can't take a little bar?
And Dan Merle.
Screw you for phrasing that like it could have been from The Water Boy. Remember the Titans. And go to hell.
Is that the fifth? Remember the Titans
That is
question?
the sixth. Remember the Titans.
Oh, you've asked one at every single match.
We managed to weave it into Star Wars somehow, and when I say
hilarious.
we, I mean our incredible writing team.
Well done. Well done.
This is what we do on the final Schmoedown. We get all our grievances out there in the open. Your next question is in the category of monster movies. Speaking of our writers. Which former WCW wrestling champion plays the lead role of Chris McCormick in the film Eight-Legged Freaks?
Nice. David Arquette.
PLD wrote this.
Yeah, PLD's being funny.
They really have their signatures when authoring questions, don't they?
David Arquette.
I love this question so much. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We start with Dan Merle.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
It's incorrect, and
David Arquette.
that is correct.
Wrestler.
No. He said
TW, not a real.
it was a real.
I know he was,
real
but
dude.
John C. McGinley's a sitcom actor. David Arquette's a wrestler.
No. The question was which
I'm
former
not arguing.
I know you're not. I know you're not. But it was WC wrestling champion. He was a wrestling champion.
Well, I'm glad you know that.
He's right. I don't want the
I
person.
know David Arquette. I know David Arquette's an Eight-Legged Freaks.
All right.
That's what the did to you. They did it on purpose.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Next
Lead role,
question.
gave you the character name. There were some hints.
Yeah.
There's some breadcrumbs.
Yeah. Nice.
I blew a question on that with Mark Riley, and I still missed it.
That's
Is
right.
that why it's
Against
in
us.
there? Oh, God help me.
All right.
Horror.
Against
Horror
us,
is
that's
the
right.
next question.
I'm horrified.
Yes.
Okay.
Nancy Stevens reprises her role as Marion Chambers most recently in which Halloween sequel alongside Charles Cyphers, Nick Castle.
I think it's Halloween
Will
H2O. Isn't Charles Cyphers the real name of
What do you put
Busta
on
Rhymes?
his name to get rid of the stink from the last question?
Am I wrong on this? Am I
Now it's water under the
I'm
bridge.
Halloween
Man, the
H2O.
champion. You recognize his name.
It's a fair question.
5, 4, 3,
Do I get
I
the
like
points?
the angry count.
2,
One.
1. 10's down. And we start with Sam Levine.
Is that Halloween Kills?
It is.
Oh,
And
shit.
Kills.
There
There
it
it
is.
is.
All right. So Sam Levine at the moment up by 2, 8-6 as we get into
Oh, I
the
forgot
final
about that.
question in round number 1.
And here it is in the category of no one's favorite scores and soundtracks. And the question. Former wrestler Jerry Goldsmith composed the score for what 1980s dark comedy?
We need to see your source on that.
He might have wrestled with his, I don't know, siblings. Jerry Goldsmith composed the score for what 1980s dark comedy directed by Joe Dante and featured Rick Ducommun and Henry Gibson?
Oh no! Wait, is it the Burbs?
And I believe the writers have
Because
left
that's
two
the
of those
one he
cartoon
lost to me on,
exits.
and
The
they're
Raiders
trying
are
to do a
leaving.
little
Yeah, they're
homage.
leaving.
I think
Already
it's the
off to the
Burbs.
bar.
4,
Is it the Burbs?
3, 2,
I put Gremlins. but I
1.
think
We're going
it's
to
the
start
Burbs.
with Dan Merle here.
Yeah.
The Burbs.
Yes, correct. Sam Levine.
It's the Burbs, and this enormous middle finger is on behalf of my friend Dan Merle. To you.
They're teaming up against the
Wait,
Raiders.
this is a monumental thing. I believe that might be the first question Dan Merle got right about the Braves.
It is.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, it's about time, Dan, right?
The final showdown in history, but there's still room for first.
Well, it's the
And
final round 1 in Schmoedown history.
Yes,
So
it
I'm
is.
tied
And
with
we
Dan
have
right now
the
with 7.
champion up by 2 over the former
feel so
5-time
bad.
champion Dan Merle, 9-7 going into round number
Where was
2.
these
Marcus
first round
Aurelius
questions
Ellis.
last year?
What's next?
It's been 9 seasons. You still don't know the rules for round 2. It's the wheel round. Each competitor gets a spin.
All right, let's just get to
5
the reg.
questions
I gotta get to
work
bed,
inside
for
each
God's
one of
sake.
those categories for 2 points apiece. If you need multiple choice,
let's
we'll
just
give you
get
that
to the
option.
spinning.
Nope. We're going to go with Jennifer Lawrence.
You spun Jennifer Lawrence?
Is it monster movie?
Really? Or is it monster movies?
If it's dead center, then we
so
go
pull
to the right.
So it's
That would be
monster.
monster movies.
Monster movies. That's a very broad category.
Just about PJ Campbell.
On this writing team.
I mean,
Yes.
All right. Do you want
you
to
asked me a Song of the South question already, which is its own kind of monster movie. I'll test my luck. Let's
All right.
All right. He's spinning it again.
Many have done that before.
This wheel.
Many
I
have
swear, why
tested
can't
Do
we
not
get?
apologize. You can break
9
the hell out of
seasons.
that wheel.
And it's going to monster
Oh,
movies. We're going to monster
All right.
movies.
which is exactly what I wanted.
this wheel, man. I'm so glad I didn't
So,
play.
obviously,
that
Wheel
works
would
out.
have drove me
Dangerous
insane.
Dan Merle here on
I
Monster
would've
Movies.
smashed it against the wall.
Yes, you will.
All right, here we go. Monster Movies, Dangerous Dan Merle. All right. Dan, for your first question.
Arnold Vosloo played what famous Universal monster
The Mummy.
in a series of films?
I'm going to take 2 points on that.
Vosloo, excuse me. Arnold Vosloo. I love our relationship.
Also features in one of the great theme park attractions of all time. That would be The Mummy.
Yes, that is correct. Tie ball game. All right. Which actor plays the role of Hades in the 2010 remake
Ray
of
Fiennes.
Clash of the Titans?
Ray Fiennes. Hades is Ray Fiennes.
Yeah. I don't think it's Liam Neeson or the Kraken, which are the only two names I know. So I will go to multiple choice.
All right. Is it A, Danny
I'll take 2
Houston,
points on this.
B, Mads
That's
Mikkelsen,
Rafe.
C, Ray Fiennes,
I'm at
D,
11. Who's Ray Fiennes? Oh, my God.
I don't think the pronunciation was correct on any of them.
No, probably not. I'm back. And I don't care.
Christian, Jesus Christ.
I will say A, Danny Houston.
And because you made fun of me, you were wrong. And Sam, here you go. Which actor
Just the disgusted look on Levine's face right now.
Which actor plays the role of Hades in the 2010 remake of Clash of the Titans? Dan, if you want to read off the names, you know them so well. A, Danny Huston. Sure.
Yeah.
B, Mads Mikkelsen.
Yes.
C, Ralph Fiennes. D, Luke Evans.
Mads Mikkelsen.
No.
No, it's Ray Fiennes. Oh, my God.
You fool!
The answer is Ray Fiennes. All right, so nobody got
Kids,
it
if you're wondering, this is why they poisoned Joffrey when he was a young
Christ.
Was it Ralph
I've got
Finesse?
11.
Yes.
I've got 11
Yeah.
right now. 11.
Thanks.
And they ripped it from me. All right, here's the next one. All right. Can't wait. All right, ready?
So your wife lets you out alone?
Nah, I snuck out. What screen legend plays Zeus in 1981?
Oh, Laurence Olivier. Sir Laurence Olivier. Take 2 on those.
Catch up on my monster movies. I believe that is, Debs, correct me if I'm wrong, Sir Laurence Olivier?
That's 2 points. There you go.
He could have been a lord back then. We'll check.
Dan up by 11-9 here, and here's the next question. This is question 4. Which actor plays the lead character, Jake Pentecost, in Pacific
Uprising?
Rim
John
Uprising?
Boyega. John Boyega. Because the Pacific Rim is Charlie Hunnam. John Boyega.
5, 4, 3.
Jesus Christ.
I'll take a repeat.
Okay.
This is the Dan I should have
Which
played
actor
last year.
plays the lead character?
Dan was
Jake
in fighting
Pentecost
shape last year.
in Pacific Rim Uprising. Stands first. Yep.
2 remaining and multiple choices.
I believe it is John Boyega, final answer.
Good job.
That's 2 points for Dan.
Good job, Dan. Good job, Dan.
All right, one more question here in his round 2 monster movie.
Last one. Dan, your final question. You'll find the Orca, a device that can emit frequencies to attract or alter Titan behavior, in what 2010's monster film?
Can emit frequencies to attract or alter. Oh, I don't know this one. You'll find the Orca. Oh,
Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Final answer.
2 more points.
Nice. King of the Monsters. Good job.
Strong round there.
That's it.
Strong round for Dan
Good
Merle.
job, Dan.
Finds himself now 15-9. Missed that one, but Sam didn't steal any, so Dan didn't get hurt too much.
Do you know how happy I was when you said you'll find the orca? And I was like, in Jaws.
Yeah, not a Jaws question, although Bruce a pretty good monster himself. So now we go to the Inglorious one who's going to step up to that wheel. He currently finds himself trailing by 6. He's got some ground to make up here, but the Inglorious one's certainly capable.
While
of
he
doing
spins, let's answer a streamline here.
Hey, last match ever, right?
Box Office Jack
Up
says,
yours, pigs.
we know Ish, but your top
He
5
spawned
10
directly
Western
from the
films.
pegs
What are your
with
favorite
Bigger.
second
Been
tier
a monster in
Western
round
films?
2.
More or less. Basically, your honorable
we
mentions.
go
or if you
to-
prefer,
That is
what are
Amblin.
Westerns you love that people don't appreciate or
Amblin
vice versa?
Entertainment.
Good question.
So Sam thinking about this,
Big Country.
consulting it with his manager, who only he can see.
Slow West, which almost no one talks about. The Proposition. Bone Tom. You're not going to find Bone Tomahawk in the top
All
10
the other
Westerns.
slices on the wheel.
I will probably live to regret this, but let's do it.
He's keeping Amblin Entertainment.
Won't you keep it Amblin? Okay. Now, I don't know if I take points on any of these because obviously that's unfair of me to get points off both of these guys.
All right, Sam. World of Amblin Entertainment.
Okay.
And your first question. For 2 points, which legendary actor plays Ted Danson's father, Jake Tremont, who Danson
Jack
must
Lemmon.
take care of in the 1989 film Dad?
I'm just going to put a little side bet when it's like 2 points here. Jack Lemmon.
I believe it's Jack Lemmon.
Your belief
Good job.
is now, in fact, a law. That is correct for 2 points. And Levine closes the gap to 4 with his next
High
question.
Plains Drifter.
Which Academy Award nominated actor voices the leader of the Commando Elite, Chip Hazard, in the 1990s family
Tommy
film
Lee Jones.
Small Soldiers?
Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah.
2 more points for Levine. And there we go. And your next question. Who directed Antonio Banderas and Anthony Hopkins in the film The Mask of Zorro?
Martin Campbell. Martin Campbell. Do you guys see a reflection of my glasses, or am I guessing these correctly? Just want to make sure.
Multiple choice, please.
All right, your 4 options for a point. Is it A, Martin Campbell, B, Joe Johnston, C, Robert Rodriguez, or D, Frank Marshall?
Can I have a repeat of the answers, please?
You certainly may. One free repeat of the options. Is it A, Martin Campbell, B, Joe Johnston, C, Robert Rodriguez, or D, Frank Marshall?
A. Martin Campbell.
That is correct. And so he cuts the lead to 1, 15 to 14. And Sam Levine now faces his penultimate question in
6
the
off these so
category
far.
of Amblin Entertainment.
Okay.
And it is, which film in the Jurassic Park franchise features the line, I have a theory that there are 2 kinds of boys. There are those that want to be astronomers and those that want to be astronauts.
Fuck me, man. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I have no idea. No idea.
Jurassic Park 3.
He's a fan of the film, I guess. That is correct for 2 more points, and that is 16 to 15. The Inglorious
Said
one
by
has
Alan
taken
Grant.
the lead over Dangerous Dan Merle, and Sam Levine now faces his final question in a Schmoedown round 2, and here it is. This 2010 Amblin film, based on a novel, received a total of 10 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actress, and Best Adapted Screenplay.
Holy shit. They give you no clue but that?
Oh, that's it. That's the end of the question.
That's Jesus Christ. That's insane. 2010 Amblin film based on a novel received 10 Oscar nominations.
All right.
Yeah, multiple choice.
Your 4 options for a point.
Based on
Is
a
it
novel.
A,
Cool,
Hereafter, B, Warhorse, C, The Adventures of Tintin, or D, True Grit?
I'm going to say Warhorse. Although Tintin is based on
True Grit.
No.
Give him another point.
Wow,
Bring it up. And it is
True
17 to 15 after a very tough round number 2. It was a back and forth, topsy-turvy round number
Stuck
1.
with
Round
Dan at
2
15,
really
so.
testing these 2 elite movie trivia Schmoedown competitors. And it's a 2-point ball game as
Not know
Levine
True
has
Grit
taken the
was
lead
based-
over Dangerous
10
Dan Merle. Now
nominations.
we
I didn't
head
True Grit
to
had 10
Las
nominations.
Vegas. At least in our minds, we don't have that kind of budget. So we're going to do the betting round right here in our studio in Cincinnati, and it is going to be Sam Levine who is in the lead, spinning that wheel one more time to generate a
Here we go.
category from which the competitors will place a wager.
I really hope I rip the peg off.
Is it going to be what
That might be the last spin that wheel ever sees. And it is the
Cusacks.
Sam, you do have the option to spin again should you want to.
I
Spin
think I'm
another
going to stick with
category,
it.
But you're going to stick with the Cusacks. We love them all. So it is the Cusacks, and now what we need from each competitor is a wager.
I'm going to put my nuts
This is
on the
betting
line. I'm
round,
going to
so you
bet
can
3
wager up to
points.
3 of your points. You don't have to wager any. Should you get the ensuing question based on the
I'm gonna
Cusacks
bet 3
correct,
points.
you gain as many points as you wager. If you miss it, you
3
lose
points.
that many points.
Yes. If you haven't
Sam,
already,
can you show me
please hit
what
the
you
like
wrote
button.
really
Yes.
quick. Thank you. And Dangerous Dan.
Malcolm,
Merle, do the
good to
same.
see you, bud.
Thank
Been a long
you.
time.
All right. So
here's
Christian
the
Harloff
question.
will now proctor the exam.
All right. Here is the question.
All right.
This 1997 comedy crime film features John, and Joan is
Oh,
his
Jesus
assistant.
Christ. Gross point blank. Give me my
And
3
also
points.
features
All right, I'm at 18.
Dan Aykroyd and Jeremy Piven.
So easy.
Right. So down the best
I'm exhausted already. We're only around 3.
Get 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sam, how many points?
The maximum of 3.
And Dan, the points?
Regrettably, only 2.
And Dan, you said?
Gross point blank.
Yes.
And Sam, you
I
said?
left the E off of gross, but gross point blank.
I would.
Close, correct. So 2017, the
Good
lead goes up by
challenge.
1.
Because gross is a city,
Now it is
not
2017, so an official lead
and
of
gross
3 by
matters
Sam
in the
Levine over
spelling
Dan
mistake.
Merle.
But-
Going into the 4th round, the speed round.
That's right. The buzzers are coming out. The buzzers that, you talk about the wheel and how competitors have many feelings about the wheel over the years. The buzzers have also elicited some strong emotions and a lot of trepidation in many a Schmoedown competitor. And here we go. But before we actually get to the rules of round 4, can we have a hand for Alex Marzonia, who's just been back and forth with the wheel, with the buzzers, making his music. Find it wherever you enjoy streaming tunes. He's one of the greats, that Marzonia. And so now the betting round is upon us. We have Sam Levine and Dangerous Dan Merle. Once again, Christian's going to
I'm not going to
read all the
guess
questions.
if I don't know it because I
know
lose a
it.
point.
You may buzz in. I will say your name. That kicks off a 2-second timer. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. You need to get the correct answer within that time frame or else you lose a point.
Okay.
All right, so here we go with question number 1.
What is the first film released in the 1990s to feature a score from the legendary John Williams?
I guess in that.
Sam.
Home Alone?
Yes. 1 point.
Wow.
All right, 21-17, so 4-point lead.
Didn't study math.
What year saw the release of the films Being There, Manhattan?
1979.
Yes.
I'm going to take that point.
Levine, 5-point gap.
Which actress appears in the following films? The Christmas Chronicles 2.
Goldie Hawn.
Snatched. Over.
Dan.
Goldie Hawn.
Yes.
That is big answer by Merle.
Name the sports film featuring the following characters: Helen Haley, Shirley Baker.
League of Their Own.
League of Their Own.
Yes.
All right,
1 for me.
5-point game. One
So
question
close.
remains in the speed round.
Which 90s action movie features performances from Will Patton, Ving Rhames?
Oh,
Dan.
Entrapment.
Armageddon.
Incorrect. Looking for Entrapment. Will Patton,
Ooh.
Ving Rhames, Catherine Zeta-Jones, and Sean Connery.
Oh.
All right, so Merle takes a shot. You get
Danny
you want to
boy.
make as much ground as possible.
All right,
in
I'm
the
at
speed round. He took a
22.
shot, but he ended up losing a point. He's still well within range here. He trails by 6. 23-17 as we head into the final round. This is the
Sean
round
got me
that
at 22,
will
I'm at 22.
determine the singles
Right? Yeah, 'cause I got
championship
Entrapment. I got
in the
Entrapment.
movie Trivia Schmoedown. Spectacular
88 people
7.
watching me
10
right now. Thank
points
you.
are available for each competitor should they hit all 3 of their
I'm on
questions.
Sam's heels right now at
Questions
22. We'll
are
see.
tougher as the point value increases. 2, then 3, then 5 points. And we're going to start with Sam Levine, who just had an icy chill run down his spine after Kate Mulligan, Dan's manager, walked by him. Sam, you have a 6-point advantage, so you have the luxury of giving us your 3 lucky numbers first from 1 to 20. What feels fortunate?
3, 11, 29, 19.
I'm going to play Dan's
11 and
numbers
19 for
since
the
Sam is
champion.
the
For the
champion.
challenger?
My 3 favorite numbers in the world: 1, 8, and 16.
Let's
1,
do it.
8, 16.
Good numbers.
All right.
Let's do it, Danny boy.
So we start with Dan Merle. All
I
right.
got him right where I wanted.
You chose category 1, Tom Hanks.
Okay.
Dan Aykroyd stars as Sergeant Joe Friday,
Oh,
opposite
Dragnet.
Tom Hanks, in
Yeah.
which 1987 buddy cop comedy based on a
Dragnet.
TV show.
2 points.
The underrated Dragnet.
Yeah. Underrated is
2
right.
points.
And a hot take there as well. All right, so we stick with Dan Merle here, who can now cut the lead to 1 if he hits his 3-pointer, Christian. He selected Kobe and Cal's number 8, and that corresponds to what?
Family films.
Ooh, family films. Fuck.
All right, here you go. Here is the question. Patrick Stewart voices Adventure, a swashbuckling gold adventure fiction book resembling a pirate with an eye patch. In which film opposite Macaulay Culkin?
The Page Master. The Page Master, right? Isn't it the Page
I
Master?
never thought anyone would ever get asked about this question. It is a post-Home Alone movie that I saw in theaters called The Page Master.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
All right, he's a big Culkin guy growing up.
So now
You see a
Dan's
reflection
trying to avoid the TKO and send it over to Sam.
Okay.
Dan, you chose
5 points.
category 16, and that is in the category of Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino.
Oh,
5
shit. Here we go
question.
again.
2 repeats left. Here is your question.
I have 27.
In the film Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, who plays the role of Squeaky, Manson girl watching over George at the spa?
Dakota Fanning. Dakota Fanning. Dakota Fanning. Give me my 5.
Two repeats.
3,
A little bit of
4,
time.
5. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 32. I'm at 32.
4.
It's Dakota Fanning, isn't it?
3, 2.
Repeat the question.
In Once Upon
Am I
a
wrong on
Time
this?
in Hollywood,
Yeah.
who plays the role of
32
Squeaky,
points.
a Manson girl
I played
watching
Dan's
over George
side
at
of the fence.
Spawn
32
Ranch?
points. Come on, baby. Come on, pull it, brother. It's right there. Pull it.
Elle Fanning.
And your winner by way of technical knockout
Wow, Dan
and
got TKO.
still Movie Trivia Schmoedown champion of the world, the inglorious one, Sam Levine. The answer was Dakota Fanning.
That was between the two.
So I do the same thing.
Dakota
I do
Fanning,
the same
he went
thing.
with Elle Fanning, and it's just that close in the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. A matchup that was like a dream, and it was a hell of a competition, tooth and nail the whole way. And Sam Levine, the Inglorious One, keeps that belt as your singles champion.
Yeah, but he does it. Look, it is. Here's something else to be said. I mean, obviously, we know how great of a competitor a Dan Murrell is. Obviously, it cannot be understated that the last match Sam has just TKO'd Dan Murrell. He TKO'd Ethan Irwin. He knocked out Paul Oyama. And he defeated Marisol McKee. That is one of the greatest runs in the singles title division we've seen so
Fair
far.
enough.
And it ends on Sam Levine's shoulder. What a battle between these two legends. Absolutely incredible to watch. Sam Levine, Dan Murrell, couldn't have asked for 2 better guys to go out and do it. And look at it, hugging, embracing. Both guys who have just furthered this sport so much. And there's no 2 competitors, I think, that should have closed it out than these 2.
Yeah, you really hoist this
Wow.
show on your shoulders, especially when you're up there
No
fielding
other
questions. I
2
mean, we're really just
competitors
asking
should
the stuff here. We have the answers in front of us. To be able to get underneath
Interesting.
that white-hot spotlight and to
Don't
perform
like that.
to the level that dangerous Dan
I like
Murrell
to
and the
think I'm on the
Inglorious
level
One
of
Sam
Dan and
Levine
Sam.
have historically set such a precedent, set the
Post-match
bar
interview?
so high, not just in terms of knowledge, but in terms of entertainment
Stay for
value,
the
in
post-match
terms of
interview. Wait until
must-see
you see it.
TV that you just can't look away
Does he come
from
after me?
because
Does he
you
say
don't
something
know what's
negative?
coming next. So many twists,
I
so
don't
many
really wanna
turns,
stay
so
for
many
that if he says something
retirements in the
negative, guys. I
career
don't
of
really feel
Murrell
like
and Levine, and it all
Is it
ends
negative?
with
'Cause I won't
one
stay.
more
Guys,
match
is it negative?
for
I don't
all
wanna-
times. Sam Levine takes it over Dan
Is it
Murrell,
Sam?
and they
Who
seem
says
to be
it?
parting as even better friends, and that really
All right.
feels like the theme today is that we had some competitors. who
Justin,
forged
is it
some
negative?
fierce
I don't
rivalries
wanna
over
stick
their
around if
days
it's
in the
negative.
Schmoedown, but
Tell
they
me.
all leave walking off together into the sunset.
Yeah, I mean, that's what this ultimately was about. And it's funny because I spoke to Dan before the event tonight. I spoke to Sam,
Okay.
and they both, and a lot of the competitors all said the same thing. Look, we're here tonight to have fun. We're here today to play the way that it used to be when we first came in here. We're here to shake hands, play trivia. You could tell on Dan Murrell's face, he was playing. He was excited to play. He was there to be. He was cracking jokes. He's having a good time. Same thing with Sam. They were all just having a good time. The audience was having a good time, and everybody was just happy to be here. And yes, does a win feel good? Of course it
Good
does.
questions,
It's one of those things
PJ.
playing
Great
against
questions.
Your friend, and you're saying that they're
Paul,
hugging,
good
they're
questions.
embracing, they're- this is what it's
Danusa.
meant to be. And there's no one more. I've had many conversations with Dan Murrell on the phone. We're talking about it. That what is important about the game, it can get to a point where it got really intense and really like what it means. And I love that aspect of the game when it was like that. But then when it can get back here and end like this with everyone here, like the atmosphere today, it was very special. It was very special.
It's the best of sports where you can have an incredible competition and an amazing event in the lines.
Yeah.
But then as soon as you leave those lines, you remember that you became better friends because of you laid it all out there on the field of play. And that really has been the hallmark of the Schmoedown.
Yeah.
It's not just some fun bar trivia game. People take this seriously. The fans out there watching this, they live and die with this stuff. And that's why it's more than just a game. It's more than just a sport. It's not just a show. It's a community, and it is indeed a family. And if two of your most famous patriarchs are Sam Levine and Dan Murrow, well, that's a pretty good family indeed.
And speaking of both of those two gentlemen, they are in the interview circle with the great Jen Sturger, who I don't like saying this. In her last interview for the Movie Trivia Schmoedown, she is with the two greats, Sam Levine and Dan Murrow. Jen, take it away.
You know, this is exactly how I needed my day to end, just standing amongst this much greatness. When I think about two people that I've spent so much time watching them grow and become legends in this game, like, I think of you guys. Screw you, Christian. I know you had bets on me crying today.
I didn't do it.
It always involves you, Merle. It always involves you. No, but I've become such good friends with both of you and with all of you, and I'm just so grateful to be able to do this last interview with you guys. Not to make it about myself, but I just did. Sam, we thought you were done. We thought you weren't coming back. Who convinced who? Were you begging Christian to come back? Or did he call you one night with this, listen, I got this crazy idea. And he talked you into it the way that only Christian Harloff can.
We had our weekly phone call where he attempts to convince me to come back. And I held him off for as long as I could. And finally, it just made sense again. So I came back and I made sure that my expectations were low and reasonable, and I just wanted to come back and play and have fun. And I'll play my first match, and I just want to look like a guy who belongs in the Schmoedown, and that was the bar I'd set for myself. And everything since then has been the most incredible run of luck that I have ever had, and I will ever have. And I'm sorry, you cannot talk about the Movie Trivia Schmoedown and not think of Dan Murrow. And I don't care the outcome of this match. This belt does not belong on anyone else's shoulder.
Oh, wow.
And I don't care what that match outcome was. No.
Wow,
No,
what a
no,
repeat.
No. If it's ending, it ends in your
What?
hands. because
Jesus, what a
it's bigger
repeat.
than any one match.
Yeah.
It's bigger than any one
agree.
match, man.
I agree,
And what,
man.
this to John Rocha.
I'm
I'm sorry. It was fitting then, it's fitting now.
How's it feel, Danny
I've
boy?
come, I've gone, I've had moments, I've had bet. You have been a constant throughout this thing, man.
It doesn't
and it's
feel
not right for it
great,
to end
does it?
anywhere else.
But you take it
And
because you
it's-
respect where it's coming
do it,
from.
whatever that is, your shoulder
Yeah.
belongs under that.
See?
You deserve it.
Yeah, I got to say, it feels good, but it doesn't 100% feel right. Dan knows.
Dan.
It's a TKO.
Isn't that exactly what you did to Rocha, though?
It is down to the beat exactly what I did to Rocha.
But
I mean, there was less hats and swearing, but it's literally the same.
Because the match you had just played didn't really matter. It was the bigger picture, man. And that's what we were talking about today. What Schmoedown has been for 9 years. Go ahead, bleeps all over. And dude, it's been 9 years, and you are the champion of what the Movie Trivia Schmoedown means. And I wouldn't feel right doing this last thing without seeing that on your shoulder, where, in my opinion, it belongs.
Oh,
I love you, man. I love you, dude. Seriously.
Dan, please don't make me cry.
I'm not.
Again. Dan, I echo everything that Sam says, obviously, and what pretty much every single person looking at you in this room would say right now, and that is, you have been a constant force in this game through your highest highs and your lowest lows. We all saw Andrew Guy looking around here somewhere. It's literally going to be his only claim to fame in this game.
Thank you for not putting it at the table. That would have been real head games for me.
But seriously, Dan, I can't think of a better person to have their face carved on the Mount Rushmore of schmoes than you, because you represent everything that this game was about, from the level of which you played the game to the sportsmanship in which you played it to the character you displayed back here to the inspiration that you led all of these people like that sat there and were like, I want to compete against that guy. That was all you.
Okay.
Your turn to cry, ain't it?
Everyone's on a revenge tour today. Okay. Here's what I'll say. When you talk about the highest highs and the lowest lows, since I started playing, none of those were here. It was all out there. And Mara, first and foremost, got me through all of it. But I love you, honey. But there are a lot of people that I see in this room here that, not in this game, in life, helped me and encouraged me when things were great, and when things weren't great, were there for me. So that's when we talk about the legacy of the Schmoedown. That what I see here looking at me, that's the legacy of the Schmoedown and what everyone in this room has done for me. And so thank you. Thank you.
Oh. I think we've all cried enough for the day.
I can't end this interview without pointing out that I don't need any belts ever, because the Schmoedown has given me the absolute greatest trophy I will ever receive. In that, yeah, I did. You're a trophy wife. Deal with it. Deal with it.
That's great.
Rachel Cushing Levine, the woman who means the world to me, and I would have never come back without her in my corner. And thank you. I love you.
All of us who
Hey, Sam.
did what we did in the game, man. Having
You
someone
did exactly
who
what you said you
stood
were going
by
to do
us
today
means the world.
when you walked in here. He goes, I'm just going to avoid the TKO guys. That's all.
Look, if you set the bar low, it really helps, I don't know, get you in the headspace. I don't know.
Technically, Sam did not avoid a TKO.
And Dan,
That's true. I messed up.
your sense of humor is just one more reason I love you guys.
Thank you.
Oh, I love you both so much. It's been real.
All right.
All right, back to the desk.
Let's go to Cushing. Oh, poor Jen. Love it. Yeah, love it.
I mean, that's hard. That's hard, you know. Like, to be honest, like we can crack jokes and everything too, but it is sweet and so meaningful to see like everybody up here and walking in and seeing Dan and Sam and Jen and looking. I mean, like, look, I'm looking at Kevin Smets holding the championship right now. Kevin's become one of my closest friends. Like, and to watch him do what he did, and not only the battle that he went through in his life.
Yeah.
And as everyone has said here before, watching every person in here, watching all of you rally behind him because of this game, and getting to know him and understanding him and loving him in the way that he should be loved, in the way of
I won't be watching the movie guys thing,
that.
Haskell. It's 10:15, man. I've been on for 3 hours and 15 minutes,
for
bro.
so many people in the world that
After
she mentioned
Kristen's
before, not
words,
just
I'm
little girls, just
out.
people in general, and all that. I'm looking at Paige for Betty and what she meant, the new competitor that came in. There's just, I could say something about everybody in here and what they meant to this game, and it's like, yeah, it sucks that it's over, right? But it's also one of those things, Mark, that you look at it and you say, we did that. We did that.
We left it all out there on the field. There was 9 seasons of some jocularity, some internal struggles going back and forth, just figuring out how to make a good game for everybody. You don't think about community, you don't think about family, you don't think that far down the road. You just want to put a good product out for the fans. And then lo and behold, the fans become part of the show, and they become competitors, and they become your friends. And all of those lines that are demarcated between performers and between the audience, they all get blurred because we're all just in this arena called life together. And the fact that this show is the thing that brought so many of us together and brought us closer, it means the world to me. And if you say, I don't know what I'm going to do without the Movie Trivia Schmoedown, then you don't have to worry, because while the game itself may cease to be played, we're not going anywhere, and we're always going to be right here.
Well, you are going somewhere, because actually I was told that I need to get you guys up to do an interview with me.
I was wrong.
All right, so what we'll say here, we're going to do an interview with Jen, and we'll do a we'll sign off and say goodbye to all
Direct
you.
to me, but you guys come to.
We will. We're going to come
Save
to
the
you.
tears. Don't go blubbering yet.
We'll come to you. But all we'll say is this: signing off the actual match itself. As much as Sam Levine did a very classy thing and handed the belt to Dan, Sam Levine ends as the champion. 3 defenses inside of that. He's the first person to ever defend 3 times in one defense. He was undefeated this season. It was a hell of a run. And so, again,
respect
kudos to Sam Levine for doing what he did. The DiMolantas put on a hell of a Star Wars match. Congratulations to Andrew DiMolanta. Watching that Inner Geekdom battle was a real pleasure to me. Like, again, I mentioned as all these people have become really close friends. Mara Kanapik is another one of those people, and to watch her come back and what she has done and how many times she's pushed herself to get back here to do what she did because she wanted to be in this room with everyone else too. And watching that, and Robert Parker, Chundru, who I couldn't stand Chundru when I first met him.
I know he couldn't.
I couldn't stand him, but I
told him over and over again that kid's going to be a star.
I love that dude.
I told him.
I really love that dude, and what he's done, and just listening to everyone with that match. And congratulations to the champ Kevin Smets for that win.
Then you go to. It was so great to see Rachel the Crusher Cushing Levine against Lady Justice Marisol McKee. Not just 2 great competitors, but 2 great lights for which anyone from any part of the world can follow in their path. Not in terms of movie trivia, just in terms of how to conduct oneself. And then you look at the teams when you talk about all-time greats like a King Arthur, like a Shazam, like a Paul Yama getting thrown into King Arthur, him and Khan complimenting each other so well, winning against possibly one of, if not the greatest teams we ever saw. And then the day kicked off with, of course, Mark Yodi Riley and Ben the Boss Bateman getting a win. And how about Yodi, the first champion we ever had, getting his final 5-pointer one more time.
Yeah, that one made me a little nostalgic as well, because Mark Riley I've known for a very long time, and to watch him and Brett Sheridan, who I've known probably equally as long, together in that match, having fun, kicking off this event.
I couldn't believe he was the Fortin Files
the whole time. And well, to quote, and now you know you stinker. So starting that out and having that fun to ending on this emotional moment, we thank you very much so from that pizza place in Anaheim. It started there. It ends here. We're going to talk to Jen Sturger, but we thank you. As Mark said, it ain't over yet. Every one of these people out here, you can find them doing stuff all over the internet. So continue to support them. Watch what they're doing. Follow them. Same with us. We're doing some stuff. Come follow us as well. The matches will live on this channel. These matches will live on. We're going to start putting all the seasons. So if it's a brand new person, I've never heard of this show before, I want to go back and check out. We're going to start putting all the old seasons and everything back up. And then all I can say is this: who knows what the future brings? Who knows?
I know what the future brings. We're going to go talk to Jen.
Let's do it.
This is a lot more awkward than I thought it was going to be. Honestly, no.
Christian, God damn it! Let me get you a jacket that fits. For fuck's sake, what are you doing?
Day. Usually, it's an exit interview. It's the other way around.
Well, it's also because it is. You can basically tell us to go F off at the end of it too. And it's totally fine. So it works out.
That's fair. I can also tell Christian to F off. So I'm waiting for that.
What have you not?
But how this show was born from a brotherhood between the two of you all is just one of those stories. It's one of those stories we never get tired of hearing. And it's one of those stories that, like, it's like hearing your grandparents be like, well, I walked through the snow. It's like, well, we were at a pizza parlor. How did that all go down? For anyone who hasn't heard this story, the real nuts and bolts of it.
I mean, the honesty of it is, for people who are going to be watching when we put season 1 up, that it started with Christian Rubicaba and JT, we were on the SCHMOEDOWN live show. We played a trivia game. They had a little bit of beef. We're kind of going back and forth, a fun beef, and they played trivia. And it was just a very competitive but fun, and the audience enjoyed it. So Mark and I had gone, it was VidCon weekend, and we went to VidCon, and we went to Anaheim. We found this pizza place.
And we sat down and we were talking about it. Like, well, let's start adding some fun games to the show. And inside of that was born, well, what if we do like a March Madness thing? And he and I were going through just matching up people that, okay, that person could play that person. They could do this. We could do that. That'd be a lot of fun. We call it like, and I remember, I can't remember which one of us said it honestly, but it was like, we just call it like the ultimate schmoedown. And like, yeah, that sounds great. That's terrible. And then, and we just had fun with it and played with it. And then it just, the audience loved it. And we, you know, because of it, we continued on and on and on.
You guys have been together for so long. I mean, this is like the long, yeah, exactly. It's like a married couple. You guys are essentially all of our parents. When you fight, it gets weird.
This relationship has been going on longer than all of my romantic relationships combined into one. So I've known this guy pretty well over the years, and we came up with the name Ultimate Schmoedown. As with most things, when we name things, Christian immediately was like, yeah, and I was like, that's stupid. And it just started to pick up steam. And you're right, JT and Christian Rubalcaba was the very first match. They couldn't be there today because one of them is now my boss. And, you know, I look at the history of the game, and it's fun to go back and watch those matches because you can just see the spark. You can see it's like watching a director's first indie film, and it's like it's not perfect. There's a lot of flaws, but you can see the magic in there, and you can see that it might ultimately become something because from the start, it wasn't just about a game that Christian and I started. It was everybody doing their part to make it a better show, to make it a better event, to make it a whole community. And that's why it's been able to last as long as it has.
Where do you guys feel like it really picked up steam, where it really like gathered some momentum?
I mean, it's hard to say because I think that 1 and 2 did something really special with the entrances and the performances. And as much as Bibiani has perfected the entrance, the entrance was started in season 1. And Mark Riley came up with these, kind of dressing up as Michael Myers, and like there were all these fun things that we were doing that the theatrics were there. It was like that blueprint in season 1 was there. And season 2 started to shine because it's like, let's just extend past just the people inside of Schmoes Know, and let's go out and find people from IGN and Nerdist and Rotten Tomatoes and actors and directors and friends. But I really think it was season 3 when it became weekly is when it picked up steam, because that's when people said, oh, you want to do a league? You want to do this? And it was the embracing of the character and the theatrics combined with it. And I always give credit, and I will, to John Rocha for what John Rocha did with the Outlaw character and the way that he was able to bring that, because a lot of people were like, wait, what is he doing? I hate him. Why is he doing that? And he embraced it, and he took it to the next level, and he paved the way for more characters, great characters like an guy and a Ben Bateman and Chandra Dandapani and Marisol McKean, all that stuff.
No one claps for me, but I appreciate you saying that, brother.
But I think that 3 was really, I would say, 3 was really when it started to find its feet.
Where do you feel like the game really stepped up in its trivia level, though? You know what I mean? Like where we've gone, I feel like when I first joined, I could actually answer some of the questions, and now I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, I think that when I quit, the trivia really got good. So I was jettisoned at the exact right moment. As soon as Dan Merle beat Santa Claus, I was like, they're taking this really seriously.
Just to let people know, we had a Van Damme category in season 1. Okay, so like, and it really, and Pauly Shore, it was really like, and honestly though, as much as you joke about it, one of the things that actually you asked like how it progressed is that when we started talking to people like Rachel Cushing and Clark Wolf, and they're like, you guys got to have more categories than just dude categories. And we're like, you're right. And that was like the evolution of it and progressing of it. And I'm looking at Liz Shannon Miller, also another person I remember talking to, like other categories and other ideas and other things that you could do, and listening to the competitors, and not just because they're competitors, because they're film experts. A lot of these people who are here, they do it for a career. Looking at Bibiani, he's like a very, very phenomenal like film critic. And you listen to these people's input and what they're saying, you're like, okay, they helped evolve the game. Sam Levine was in the match. There were no JTE rules. And the first thing, there was no 15-second rule. And we're like, yeah. Hey, all right, so now Sam, you got your question, and Sam's is ready for the answer. And then we're like, and 5, 4, and he's like, wait, what? I have 5 seconds to answer the question. And we had to change the rules. But as far as the questions went, that still was always evolving. And whether it was Chris Galicki or the great PJ Campbell and PLD, we would talk to them and we'd say, okay, look, I want to make sure that the audience is able to answer some of these questions. And sometimes Star Wars Division, no one's going to, except George Lucas might get some of those, right? Like, and the Demolantes. Let me finish. Let me stop you right there. But anyway, so it's ebbs and flows, right? And I think that the digital age was really intense, and I think that everybody who played in the digital age, I cannot thank you enough, because I know that how hard that was for everyone sitting in your, in your house. And like today, whether you won a loss, you're going to go out with your friends, you're going to have a good time, we're going to talk about it, whether you lost or not. It was hard at home because you're sitting there and you have this great match, and then the TV goes off, the camera goes off, and you're like, oh, it's depressing. And you all stood with it, and you all stood with us. And I know how much sometimes it got tough, and I know how sometimes we went after each other, whether it was in person or Twitter, and I get it, and I know that we all stood together, and you're all here for a reason, and you're all here together for a reason. And yeah, we came up with the idea. You flourished it.
All right.
Well said.
You look back on the history of any production, and it starts with an idea, and then it becomes a thing that you're just.
All right, I gotta cut it here because
sometimes getting
it's gonna
by
be another 5 minutes. I got to roll.
Chris and I
three
dipping
and a
into
half
our own
hours.
bank
I got to
accounts
run it.
just to make the ends meet, and then the digital.
So I'm gonna stop here.
comes
Thanks
along, and
everybody. Thanks everybody for watching. I appreciate it madly. I mean, I consistently kept 80 of you for almost 3 hours. So thank you very, very much for joining me here tonight to say goodbye to the Schmoedown. Some people were saying, why didn't Rocha do a video? I'm doing it my way, like always. I do it the Outlaw's way. It may ruffle some feathers, it may bother some people, but I could give a fuck. It's my show, it's my character. I do with it as I wish. And tonight it was to hang out and do it on my way with my people here in the nation, hanging out, watching Schmoedown Spectacular, playing along with it, talking to you all about my favorite memories, moments, and events and matches throughout my career, because this is it. The hat's going to come off. It came off last year when I retired, but it's really coming off my head tonight once and for all. And I've really tried hard not to make any more Schmoedown references on my shows because, it's time to move on. It's time to let it go. And it's time to appreciate it for what it was, love it for what it was. And certainly I did. And really appreciate for what it brought into my life. I didn't get a wife out of it, out of the Schmoedown necessarily, but I certainly got an incredible woman along the way who understood and supported me as I was in the Schmoedown. And I think if I can say it very honestly, I would never have gotten a second wind to play in the game without her. I probably would have retired much earlier than I did, because the game takes so much out of you. The emotion, the way I play it, the emotions, the care, the amount of love I had for this game and what I gave to it. And I may not be as revered as Sam or Dan or any of the other players who are much more easier to love, but I loved it my way. And for those of you who understand how I loved it, I love you for understanding me and appreciating that. And I gave it everything I got every time I walked through that curtain, whether I was mentally ready or not. I gave it everything I got to try to win. And you guys saw me go through my emotions in every match. You saw me go through my feelings. I never hid anything from anybody. And I think that's one of the indirect gifts, is that a lot of you became fans of mine and fans of what I did in the game because I put it all on the table. And there were no lies in my performances, in my actions, and in my games. Nothing but authenticity. And for that, I thank you all so much for understanding and appreciating that. Very, very much. We move on. It was a great thing. I loved being the Outlaw. I was able to bring out this other part of me that had always wanted to play the wrestling heel, had always wanted to cut the promos, had always wanted to have the back and forths with people and to have the battles in the ring. We did it over movie trivia instead of, throwing each other around, except for that one time I was tackled, of course. But, we did it there. And I had a blast. I had a blast with it all. I had a blast meeting all of you, talking with all of you, hearing your stories. Honestly, it's a humbling experience to have so many people come up and talk to you and tell you how much they meant to you, especially all the people at Schmoedown Spectacular last year. I mean, that line was out the door for people buying my shirts and whatever. And if you want to buy a shirt, I still have a few shirts left. We can work something out. DM me on Twitter or on Instagram. and we can figure out, how to get you a shirt and a size. I still have a few of those left from last year. If you want to have something to remember me by, let me know, or give it as a gift or whatever. Let me know. I'm happy to do it. I'll also be doing, getting on and doing some cameos. And so if you want to do that, I haven't been great at doing those, so I'm going to be more focused on doing those as well going forward. So just letting you all know, thank you very much for supporting me on the journey and everything I went through and everything I did. I hope I made you all proud. I hope I made you all laugh, smile, maybe even cry a little bit. But more than anything else, I hope I lifted you all's spirits, showed you that you can fight back, that you can climb up the mountain, that no matter how much, life feels like it's sitting on top of you, if you just persevere, if you just put one foot in front of the other, one step in front of the other, no matter how much it feels like it's not going to work out, you can find your way through it. And I hope, if nothing else, I've shown you all that and inspired some of you all to keep fighting for something that you want, or to keep fighting to climb out from under that stuff. I've spoken about my mental health and my struggles with that all the time, very openly, because I want to break that stigma. So I hope talking about it during the games, talking about it in the post-match stuff, talking about it in interviews, talking about it, when I was on shows, I hope you all appreciated that. Because as you know, it was in the second season or third season of the Schmoedown where I almost took my life in 2016. Before that match with Riley, the second match with Riley, I was just 4 days removed from almost taking my life. So just know that those things are very real to me and very connected with my experience in the Schmoedown as well. So I'll never apologize for that, and I'll always take pride that I fought my way through it, through the worst hell for 6 months to climb out the other side. And it's a daily struggle. And I credit it to, finding the strength through the Schmoedown to fight back and win, fight back and show what I can do. And you can take those little victories and transfer them onto other things in life. You just never know how they can help you. So thank you all so much for watching tonight. Thank you all so much for being a fan of the Outlaw. I salute you, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I shed all my tears last year. No tears tonight. Just know that I love you, and I appreciate every single person who supported us, uplifted the show, talked about the show, promoted the show, commented on the show, those who were respectful and nice. I appreciated all of you all, and you meant the world to us, for sure. If I can speak for every other Schmoedown competitor, you meant the world to us. And for every competitor I ever played with and competitor that I ever served with and did stuff with, we had great memories, we had great times, and I'll always cherish those, if nothing else. And that is always something that I will keep in that box of my memorabilia. I'll keep it figuratively in that box of my memorabilia. So, all right, that's it from me. You guys are the best. I appreciate y'all. The Outlaw Nation channel goes on. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell button so you see when we're dropping all the content we do on here. Hit a like on this video and share it on your social media. I will put time codes on it tomorrow morning because I got to go to bed. And look for that, and it'll be up on the Outlaw Nation podcast stream as well. For those you don't know, almost every show we do on here is on the Outlaw Nation podcast stream, except for the Hot Mic, the Geek Buddies, and Strong Style. Those aren't separate things, but everything else we do on here is on the Outlaw Nation podcast, which you can download or subscribe to wherever you download podcasts, for sure. So there it is. I retire the hat. The hair's all messed up, of course. But that's it. I say goodbye to one of the greatest things I've ever done in my life. And I thank Christian Harloff, of course, and Mark Ellis for giving me the opportunity to do it, and for all of you for giving me the opportunity to do it. It was a hell of a ride. It was a hell of a ride. And I love you. Y'all be well.